All right, we're all here. Wake up. Wake up. God, every fucking time, dude. What is, oh my Lord in heaven, what is going on? Fucking shit. Holy shit, fuck, motherfuck. What is, oh my Lord, what is going on? All right, hold on, chat. Oh, fucking annoying. What the fuck? I have this light. Okay, there we go. Jesus. We're here. We're live. Welcome on in, chat. We are live. It is July 30th, 2026. New polls coming out of Michigan, and it's a motherfucking wrap, bro. It's a motherfucking wrap, bro. Like, it's beyond over. Hasan Piker Mehdi Hasan interview has finally been released. Mike, I got off the Georgetown law waitlist from yesterday. From Thought is going to DC. Oh, congratulations. That's one of the few law schools that are worth it, man. That's awesome. But try not to become evil. Also, I will give you advice about law school. They're evil. They're evil. Also, and I'll be completely honest with you, the first year is the most important year. So all you should laser on getting the highest grades you can. Like, legitimately, that's all you need to do. Once you have the first year A's, then you're good to go. Congratulations, brother. New CNN poll. Democrats who are enthusiastic / okay with their party nominating a Democratic Socialist, 73, cut support for Israel, 69, attacks opponents, 24, over 70-20, supports Trump's policies, 12%, accused of sexual assault, 4%. God damn. God damn. Whitmer greatly overestimated herself. This is why Obama hasn't weighed in. Because he doesn't want to look irrelevant. And he will be. You have to understand that we have, like, one of our saving graces is that Barack Obama is a narcissist. In the sense of wanting to be thought well by history, right? He doesn't want to, like, endorse in primaries and then lose. Because then it looks like he's fucking powerless and irrelevant. So he only plays where he feels like there is a like near 100% chance of it working out. I'm an environmental biologist grad student going into my first year. Do you think I should pick between environmental law or environmental policy? I'm surprised that you are allowed to pick between. Policy is really the application of law. We got to get the normie libs ready to ignore the electability, etc. BS. First of all, they already are, right? They already are. In the sense of nobody knows what electability is, right? You know what I mean? Like, nobody knows what that is. Everybody said Kamala Harris was electable. Everybody said Hillary Clinton was electable, and they weren't. All right. So, and this year is going to be a landslide year. Obviously, we're going to be focusing our attention on promoting the left wingers in the general election. Even though I believe that Abdul and Fran are both going to win by 10, I don't care. I'm going to be spending my time helping them. I'm not going to be helping the libs. The libs can take care of themselves. All right. That's what I feel. I'm not spending any time helping liberals in the general election. I'm only helping the lefties and the progressives. Now, obviously, I'm not going to tear down the Democrats, the libs. I want them to win. They're better. I want to take power away from the Republicans, obviously. But, like, no, it's so over. CONTRAPOINTS is, I guess, needing narcissistic supply again. I've been waiting for this to blow over, but it's been years, so I have to address it. Can one of the 100,000 leftists on whom it's an essential article of faith that I'm a genocide-loving Zionist explain why? I mean, like, Natalie, get help. Like, legitimately get help. I don't know that a treatment program has been developed for your level of narcissism. Shut the fuck up. Nobody cares. But if you're wondering, I mean, I'm thinking about downloading my video on CONTRAPOINTS and uploading it to Twitter. I'm legitimately considering it. Like, debugging CONTRAPOINTS disgraceful statement. Also, I would say the decorations from behind the stream have improved markedly. See what a coat of paint and some books, but legitimately, what a scumbag. What a scumbag. Mike, do it, Mike. This is the era of pruning false progressives. Yeah. The gigantic Luigi, Listen. I believe that leftists need to be working on their increasing of dog whistles, right? Like, dog whistles immediately. Also, what the fuck? Later. She might make another video. Is there a specific person or community that you think is responsible for spreading this falsehood? There is. Video essay worthy or too much harassment to endure? I'm on the fence. Lav is life. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, this is a Destiny orbiter. Jesus Christ. Imagine like replying seriously to a Destiny cult member. This is an advanced cult member because Lav, I believe, is someone that Destiny stalked or like harassed, right? Isn't that true? Lav is like one of Destiny's victims. So this person is like absolutely like they're so deep into it. There you go. Hey Hasan, I sent this email on your way a few years ago. I think we can raise 5 million to directly support Palestinian children. So replying to this person is fucking depraved. Natalie, you are scum. You are a fucking scumbag. I think it's funny you talk about Hasan like real anti-Semites talk about the Jews. Yeah, that is kind of funny.
Stuff I think that's specifically towards Hasan. So I know there's a lot of pent up stuff I think that's specifically towards Hasan. So I know, for example, that, and I'm not saying this is true or not true. I'm just saying that with the creators that I've worked with, one of the things that there are a handful of communities that they're really scared of, and Hasan's is. I'm not saying that that's justified or not justified. I'm not saying it's true or not true, but just for whatever reason, right? And when people say, I'll ask them like, why, right? What concerns you about? And I think it has something to do with his size, his rigidity, and the tribalism of his community, right?
This is like, again, one of the things to notice about this is all of these comments are legitimately for stupid people. Like, this is what a dumb piece of shit who's morally bankrupt says about people who are actually living with a purpose and not just floating on the social media grift game. It's rigid to care about a genocide, guys. It's rigid to care about stopping fascism. That's very rigid of you. Why aren't you just collaborating to make money? If you can't explain, Jules, you should have just uploaded my entire, I'm happy to post it again. You know, I'm happy to post it again. I mean, I did post an hour-long video. I posted an hour-long video debunking your disgusting Zionist screed against the pro-Palestine cause. You know, it's not a secret. I mean, I might just upload the whole goddamn thing. I might upload the whole goddamn thing. Did you see they're going after Eric now? Yes. Troll Jackson's anonymous alias. Troll Jackson ran an anonymous account to troll Republicans online. Based. What's your opinion of Dr. K? I have never seen anything that has made me consider his work to be of value to me. Also, I think it's unethical to do therapy in front of a stream. I just think the entire idea behind it is unethical and probably not valuable. This entire argument is nonsensical. What does she mean by politically infeasible? What do you actually mean? Make a point instead of stating a conclusion. Back your point up, CONTRAPOINTS. Every single point you make is so pathetically stupid and unresearched. You must be a Destiny fan. You must be a Destiny fan. Every single time you try to approach a point, it's so easy to debunk. Even a modicum of knowledge throws it in the trash. This is the written thing you decided to publish? Did anybody read it? If somebody, I think this very specific coming soon is probably not useful for the video overall. I think in this very specific one, I'm gonna have to say to the editors, I love you. I get the energy, but very specifically in this one, I don't think it actually helps. I think that when I crashed out there, it had been a payoff after about 30 minutes of conversation. That was payoff. You know what I mean? It's like, I personally like foreplay, right? Just going straight to the Le Petit Mort instead of, the watching the whole buildup. Doesn't, unless you're a fetishist for me yelling, I don't think it quite hits. You know what I mean? I hate any form of this is from later in the video. No, you're wrong. It's okay. You're allowed to be wrong. You're allowed to be wrong. You're allowed to be wrong. Unfortunately, it is a proven and an effective method, and because maybe you, whenever you click a video, you feel like a personal commitment to finishing the video. I just want to let you know that a lot of channels put out clickbait. And so people are very skeptical when they start watching a new video about whether it's actually going to do the thing they're talking about. So you're going to have to suffer through it. I mean, you can always skip ahead, right? You could click because it says coming up at the top right, and then you could just click ahead. You have a maximalist position. Yeah. So Natalie Wynn is a fucking disgusting genocide supporter. She went to the Lindsey Graham funeral with Stacey K, who apparently is her like new bestie, I guess, who's a virulent right winger. Like, honestly, like, and CONTRAPOINTS has always been a Destiny fan. What? Oh, you guys did it. I thought everybody knew. Can someone link me that post? Is a disgusting Zionist. You're not following Roop Raj? What is this before? But I don't know who that is. Rip Senator Lindsey Graham. Stacey K is like probably one of the most evil political commentators on Twitter. And I'm so, like, honestly, I'm so glad I'm blocked by them because they legitimately are a disgusting, evil person. He's the moderator for the Abdul debate. Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I don't follow local Detroit newsmakers. Who is Stacey K? Oh, God. If you guys think this is a bit, allow me to be the first one to inform you that Stacey K has freely admitted on multiple occasions that she used to vote Republican. She voted for Mitt Romney over Obama.
Yeah. They know shit.
Stacey K is trying to pretend they're a comedian again. Stacey K is like a very rich trust fund baby who occasionally does stand up to no audience in order to pretend they have a job. And then they spend most of their time posting in favor of, like, you know, centrist politics. Tells you all you need to know. Hasan has literally spent more time on camera talking about me than I have about him. This is the audience Hasan cultivates. Why should voters in Maine know about a girl who lost the Illinois 9 primary? Think, and then Fox News deluge on Hasan. He'd probably be a better target. I'm not a fucking conservative Democrat. Yes, you are. It's better politics than doing photo ops with Hasan. There are worse grifters on the left than Hasan, by the way. I mean, true. Hasan has a grand design to reshape American politics by making non-progressives unelectable. It refers to people who always vote for Dems over Republicans as apparatchiks and empty-headed vessels. I wish I was making this up. Also, they already are unelectable. That's why they keep losing elections. I don't think he sees Ukrainians as people fighting against imperialist expansion. I think one of the things about, you know, being in politics, you know, for me personally, is centrists just lie about you. Like, they lie about your positions nonstop. They can't address what you actually say because when they do, they get fucking beat the fuck out. So they just spread lies and then you correct it. And it's been corrected to Stacey probably like 500 times, right? And then they just go back and lie again. And then you're like, how do you not know this? This hasn't been true. Like, I don't follow Wood Hasan every word, which sounds like a plausible thing to say. But turns out, no, they actually do follow Hasan's every word. And it's just another lie. I have some things to say in response to Hasan. She's running against Hasan. I guess she was talking in favor of Mallory McMorrow. How'd that work out? Oh, whoops. The only people I know who say things like harm reduction are people like Hasan and his orbiters. Democrats across the board are running on fixing the country. Anyway, let's keep moving on. This doesn't matter. Who gives a shit? Nobody cares about these people. You don't even know who they are. You literally don't even know who they are. I have to tell you who they are. Chat, I was listening to probably one of the worst videos I've ever seen in my entire life, which was Ezra Klein talking to Kevin Rudd. And Kevin Rudd, I mean, and it's so funny because, like, legitimately Kevin Rudd, how do I explain this? It's like watching, like, you know, Kevin Rudd is supposed to be a member of the Labour Party, right? In the UK. The Labour Party is supposed to be this, like, social democratic party, right? And this guy, he's like, he speaks about like, you know, Marxist analysis or even like materialist analysis like it is gobbledygook, right? And it's very funny. It's one thing you could say that, you know, maybe life is more complicated. You have this like postmodern perspective, you know, post-left, you know, perspective on, you know, materialist analysis, not, you know, not representing the fullest understanding of human societies or whatever. Like that's whatever. Okay, I can understand that. But he's like, no, it's let me see if I can find it. Oh God, it legitimately is kind of embarrassing. Seeing how like Marxist and critical examinations in history are incredibly valuable. Why is the oh fuck? I was like, why is this breaking? Okay. Oh my God. There we go. By the way, I searched materialism and it didn't show. And there it is. Huh?
Changing historical developments over time. One's called dialectical materialism, and the second is called historical materialism. So what the hell is that? Dialectical materialism is a worldview by Marxists, which says that change in society, the economy, and politics occurs between this constant push between progressive forces and reactionary forces, which they ultimately describe as the forces of the working class versus the capitalist class, and ultimately one pushes hard against the other, overturns the other, and creates a new synthesis, which ultimately is a communist state. And so that's dialectical materialism. And the Chinese Communist Party says...
Basically the inevitable historical engine that pushes through the capitalist state to communism.
That's true. And through the agency of what they call class struggle or just struggle. By the way, one of the things that Xi Jinping has rehabilitated as a term in China's political discourse today is struggle, 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 a term which largely disappeared during the Deng, Zhang, and Hu period. So bear with me for a moment. This is turgid.
He didn't explain it. He didn't really explain it. There's a reason why it's called materialism, right? Which is to say the entire world, like the world is material. World is material, and things happen as a result of that phenomenon, of matter. That's why it's materialism. That's like a very important point that we're missing out, because the alternatives, we're talking about spiritual or supernatural explanations for the world, right? And then as far as the dialectical part, we're talking about, he kind of gets at it between progressive and reactionary forces. Is not quite right. He's misusing those words. But again, this is not what he says. It's turgid. It's like it's no more turgid than any other philosophical underpinning of to try to understand reality, right? Like very embarrassing
stuff, and I apologize to your listeners.
This is a safe space for turgidity.
This is seriously
they know what to expect.
This is seriously turgid, and I've had to read this stuff, and I wouldn't recommend it to any of you unless you're suffering from deep insomnia. And I can give you the relevant chapters of my book, which will...
I think one of the important things to understand about these guys is, this guy is a former prime minister of Australia, which is a backwater, right? Which is an American puppet. I mean, they eagerly joined Vietnam, for fuck's sake, right? So we're talking about an imperial backwater, third-rate country, third-rate power, not that relevant. And he's trying to talk about the philosophy of Xi Jinping and the Communist Party of China, which has the premier developmental project in the history of humanity, right? And at the time, the rest of the planet was hostile. When China was developing fastest, they had the fewest allies, right? Think about that. Even the Soviet Union was against them. All right. So this is like, and you can compare China to basically every other country of the world. And there is no country in human history that has developed faster than China today. So I think that would bring some humility, right? Like, can you imagine if the U.S. Navy surrounded Australia and started putting a blockade on there and denied and recognized some splinter faction as the true government of Australia, and it was living in Fiji, right? And the Australian government in exile, which had stolen every amount of the treasury and all the wealth of Australia, started genociding the native Fijian population and called themselves the true... they sat at Australia's seat in the United Nations. Do you understand? But there's really no compare. I guess I should say Tasmania, right? Instead of Fiji, they went to Tasmania. Yeah. I'm saying this only because it's like, how else to put it but white racist dipshit, right? There's really no other way to understand it.
Send you off to sleep. But historical materialism is the parallel discipline which asks Marxists...
I mean, the main thing about Marxists, which he gets right, is that they believe that socialism is the stage of economic development that will arise after capitalism. Just like ancient societies transitioned to feudalism, and feudalism transitioned to capitalism, and that capitalism will eventually transition to socialism. It is a prediction, right? It is taking the analysis that they back test it against human history, and then they use it to project forward towards an outcome that they think they, you know, predict will occur. The contradictions between the bourgeois class and the proletariat classes will eventually result in a rupture that leads to a socialist future. We will eventually proceed through all the development that capitalism can provide us, and then we will progress beyond. That is basically the kind of thrust. People will call this modernity. People will say that this is like, you know, a grand sweep of history. You know, a lot of the like reaction to this like post-modernity is basically to argue that there is no grand narratives of history, right? To push back against that idea is to say, actually, no, there is no truth, right? Everything's subjective. And let's not get into, well, we're not going to get into this more other than to say I got halfway through it before I had to turn it off, unfortunately. I'll try to finish it later. But the China experts that we have, oh, we're fucking cooked. We are fucking cooked. All right, where are we? Where was I? Okay. So obviously CONTRAPOINTS is a disgusting Zionist. But there's no need to get angry, right? There's no need to get angry because, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the new polls have dropped. Francesca Hogg has a preposterous lead in the 18 to 29 to 30 to 44 age groups. Francesca Hogg has 66% of the vote with 18 to 29s and 51% with the 30 to 44s. I don't want to say this because it'll be interpreted as me glazing, but I believe that Hasan Piker's endorsement may actually be the most important endorsement in American politics today, outside of Barack Obama. I don't mean to glaze him too much, but I legitimately think that as far as a national political figure, Hasan Piker's endorsement may be the most important endorsement in the country. And the reason why I say that is Francesca Hogg has not been endorsed by AOC. She has not been endorsed by Bernie Sanders. All she has is myself, Hasan, the DSA of Wisconsin, and lately she got Ro Khanna and Ilhan Omar, which, by the way, didn't happen until she was basically seen as a front runner. I legitimately believe that our endorsement is the most important endorsement in Democratic primaries today. Whatever you know, Kevin Rudd is fluent in Mandarins. No, I'm not saying that he's not. I'm saying that he's ideologically stunted, medium rare. I'm saying he's ideologically committed. And the way he communicates to Western audiences is kind of an exasperated, arrogant dismissal of China and its leadership in a way that is embarrassing, which is a sign of either he has contempt for you or himself. Hasan Piker is far more effective than Chapo. Hasan Piker is far more effective than Chapo. It's not even close. It's not even close. Like it's not even like no. They cannot be measured. They cannot be compared. You got to be fucking kidding me. Chapo is honestly kind of like they're like kind of irrelevant. They've fallen off pretty far. Like they're pretty irrelevant. Like they don't really get any discourse. Like what they say doesn't really matter. Why bash? I'm not bashing them. I'm being honest. Like, what do you want me to say? It's not like, do you see Chapo in the discourse anymore? I mean, listen, like I was a Matt Christman fan, and I think that's what gave the podcast the ideological and the energy that kind of motivated it. And everybody else there was kind of playing off him. And, you know, with his stroke, he hasn't been able to be the backbone of the podcast. I mean, obviously he's recovering. He's doing well. I'm glad. But like, it really took the wind out of Chapo. Like the ideological and the intellectual energy of the podcast was Matt Christman. And it really is. It is what it is. You know, I love Chapo. I mean, I'm not a Chapo hater. I'm just saying that, like, come on. They matter to the extent that Hasan listens to what they say. That's correct. That is correct. I mean, there is only one. I mean, I'll be completely honest with you, chat. I watch a fair few number of like other content and listen and read. And, you know, my judgment, like the reason why I stick around Hasan's community the most is because I think he is the most important community. It's not just for my own gain. I think the community, like, one, his analysis is better than almost anyone else. And I do my best to influence it because I think that, you know, like and people will think like, oh, Mike is glazing. And it's like, no, I legitimately think that he's smarter and has better analysis than 99.9% of the other voices out there. And I try to influence him where I disagree with him. I tell him it's a confluence of best politics best person and most effective. There's no one else in the left that I think lines all those things up as good as him. And like, I think my analysis is better because I think my analysis is, it's my analysis. If I thought it was wrong, I would change it. But like, again, that's just my ego, right? He is somebody who I listen to and I care about his opinion. And honestly, you know, one of the biggest red flags for me is somebody who thinks that they have better analysis than Hasan in general. Like I consider that to be a pretty big red flag of someone who doesn't know anything. How important do you think the clip attention economy is worth with Hasan endorsement? That's the thing. He is the king of the attention economy, right? That's the thing. Like, he's the king of the attention economy. And there's a permanent Hasan complex. So when he pays attention to a politician, they get access to a massive influx of left-leaning people. There's a few streamers who I tried to give, you know, advice to over the years, at speaking about Hasan in general and kind of like my philosophy. I won't do it anymore because people don't deserve to know. Like, why am I giving away literally $1 million worth pieces of advice to swine? You know, like, it doesn't make any sense. But I will tell you guys, which is, if you are trying to talk about politics, especially from a left of center perspective, there is no place on earth that is more ripe than Hasanabi's community. They fell off, but they're still players in their own right. They'd have to, if they got the mayor of the podcast, still prominent journalists covering the issues of the day. They occupy the space they take up and they do it well. They're just now more NYC focused, and I appreciate that access. Lord, I wish they would get better commentators at electoral analysis than editor Mentum. I mean, Mike's most controversial opinion of the day. Felix, although he was a disgusting predator, was a hell of a lot smarter than editor Mentum on analysis. I mean, I'm glad. Where did Felix go? But, you know, where's Felix? But he was smarter. Virgil, not Felix. Sorry, Virgil, not Felix. Sorry, Virgil, not Felix. I'm sorry. I forgot Virgil's name. Felix is great. Felix is not a predator. Felix is fine. I apologize. I misspoke. I meant Virgil. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I fucked up. No. Felix is fine. I haven't heard anything bad about Felix.
Wait, I know what this is. This
Felix
is a Twilight Zone
baby.
thing. It looks like heaven at first, but then you realize he's actually getting punished.
Okay, of course you think it's a punishment. You'd prefer spending your days watching nude Hasan Piker Twitch streams while a Native American drag queen reads you the Quran.
Wait, I know what this is. This is a Twilight Zone thing. It looks.
I guess they were doing something on Lindsey Graham going to hell. This is a really smart Ali Swedson story about the rise of progressive media, which I think has been a massive factor in Michigan Senate. Outside, I mean, I think it's a bigger factor in Wisconsin governor. Michigan Senate, yes. But the Michigan Senate race is a more traditional race, with the media, the left media taking on the traditional. Whereas in Wisconsin, that is a story of just the left-wing media dominating the Democratic Party. Jordan Klepper is the only... honestly, there's two people that I think are decent from the Daily Show history. Jordan Klepper and John Oliver. John Oliver being the best. Pretty much everybody else from the, Daily Show universe is pretty garbage. Josh Johnson. Oh, yeah, Josh Johnson is fine. You're right. A new media ecosystem is taking root on the left, reshaping Democratic politics. Art Brent, a physician assistant at Holland, Michigan, used to learn about politics from channels like ABC, CBS, and CNN. That changed, and she decided the coverage of the war in Gaza was irreparably biased. I couldn't stand all the lies on the stations, arguing that there wasn't enough attention being paid to Palestinian suffering. I started going to Instagram to get my news. Brent is among the many progressive-minded Americans who have sworn off legacy media institutions. They're turning to a widening mist of independent podcasts, social media accounts, and digital news sites, part of an increasingly influential ecosystem that have boosted this year's wave of anti-establishment, left-leaning candidates who may not have gotten as much attention otherwise. And I legitimately think this is true. I think that Hasan Piker even now, I think Hasan Piker underestimates his power. And there is this, fight that I've, the thing about the Hasan Piker, greater universe, I would love for Hasan to run for Congress. He would win easily. I would love for Caroline to run for Congress. She would win easily. And it's just, I'm not kidding. I'm dead serious. And the thing about it is, being in politics, I know what it's like to be a rep. It's not a real job. You could do whatever the fuck you want. Yes, you show up to vote. Yes, you spend time in DC. He could literally just stream. He could stream and then go vote, stream and then go to his committee hearings. Like it would not matter at all. The only thing is he wouldn't make money from subs, probably wouldn't be allowed to make money from subscriptions. That's literally the only difference. But maybe he could. I don't know. Maybe he could put it into like you know, he could do some sort of blind trust or something. BYD glaze on their vertical integration at low cost with high quality. Yes, thank you. You think Will would want to live in DC? You could live at, what are you talking about? You can live in your district. You live in your district at home and you commute to DC for part of the year. You don't have to do anything. Again, it's not a real job. You guys are confused. If he can't get, you wouldn't want to, I'm just not a good candidate. You know, I'm just not a good candidate for a variety of reasons. I'm too mean, you know, I'm not hot enough. Just stuff like that. And I've said too much. Mike, you're hotter than 85% of Congress. Yeah, but I don't have APAC millions behind me. That's what you guys don't understand is if I were to run, then I would have APAC millions against me. That's the thing. Like that's the thing. I'm not just running as a generic Democrat. I'd be running against the entire fucking establishment. It's hard to beat that. Anyway, let's keep going. They're turning to a widening mix of independent podcasts, social media accounts, and digital news sites, part of an increasingly influential ecosystem that has boosted this year's wave of anti-establishment, left-leaning candidates who may not have gotten much attention otherwise. Liberals remain more likely than conservatives to trust mainstream outlets, but the splintering echoes how conservatives skeptical of their party created a collection of insurgent news sites years ago. The shift has elevated individual commentators with opinions on the news, some of whom have proven influential in driving people's votes. Ryan Grimm, co-founder of Dropsite News and a veteran of online political debates, said progressive politicians have sought out his platform to reach voters. In a change to previous election cycles, they have ways to get covered, even if the mainstream just basically ignores them, he said. One of those candidates is Abdul El-Sayed, who is running for U.S. Senate in Michigan and faces the more moderate Rep. Haley Stevens in the August 4th primary. I think in a lot of ways where traditional media has been gatekeepers, we're watching that gatekeeping function fall away, El-Sayed said. Anti-establishment media has exploded lately. Chat, Ryan, make me a fundraiser for you. Just like you've watched every other candidate do for the full year on Act Blue. Honestly, you should have done that a long time ago. What the fuck's wrong with you? You're supposed to be badass, Ryan. What are you doing? Don't be embarrassed. I don't promote you because you're embarrassed. I promote you because you're shameless. All right, cool. Are we going to do Hasan versus Hasan today? Yes. Chat, if there's somebody who should run for Congress, it's Ryan Clancy. Ryan, are you getting ready for 2028? It's time to get ready, Ryan. Time to get ready. Who's your member? She's like a mega Zionist, isn't she? Isn't she? I want to pass my shit at the state first. Slap yourself in the face right now. Slap yourself in the face right now. What if we run Hasan for VP with Hayes? No! Mike, have you got over the South Korea stock crash? Only in the most superficial way. She does have a primary challenger this cycle. That's a shame because they never talked to me. Anyway, let's keep going. These changes have been on display this year at places like New York City, where a slate of progressive congressional candidates endorsed by Mayor Zohran Mamdani defeated establishment-backed candidates. Sarah Heiler, a policy analyst in East Harlem, originally planned to support incumbent Rep. Adriano Espaillat in last month's Democratic primary. But then Heiler started learning about progressive outsider Daria Lisa Ava Chevalier through YouTube videos and podcasts, including for the liberal media company Midas Touch. My actual beliefs are to the left of Democrats. I need to be there for the Hong regime. My dude, you understand that it is 2026, right? You understand it's 2026, right? 2028, getting sworn into 2029 is 3 years from now. You'll have plenty of Hong regime. You'll have plenty of Hong regime under your belt by then. Mike knows everything. This is how it always goes, by the way. If you've never recruited anybody to run for office, shut the fuck up. As somebody who's recruited many people to run for office, many of whom are currently in power, they need this kind of conversation where somebody is like, what are you doing? Stop being complacent. Stop being lazy. You know what you need to do. And yes, obviously, the Hong regime is going to be great, and you're not allowed to talk about stuff so far ahead. I get it. But politics is about making plans. Like, some of the things that happens with politics is it becomes too much like news. And this is something that I see as a major problem for the left, is we don't have anybody who looks ahead, even like a cycle or two. Everybody is like zoomed in this close. Everything is like the primary in 1 week, as opposed to like even November, even the next election, you know? 2028, like it's hard to get people to look ahead of like even like their own fucking nose. So that's kind of the issue. We need 5-year plans. You should work on politics like a pool game. Assume you're making the shot in front of you and plan for the next shot or two. Exactly. Now you get it. It's like playing chess, but never thinking about more than a move ahead. That's terrible. We need to be able to, we need to like make plans, weave mating nets, coordinate our pieces. That's why your 2024 predictions for 2028 hit so hard. Yes, because I'm one of the only people who actually attempts to think ahead. It's embarrassing. I don't know why. Not that hard. Anyway, let's keep going. And I'm trying not to be a massive narcissist. I'm sorry. I agree with you in concept. I just don't know how feasible it is with our system. I do know how feasible it is. Just do what I say. Hey, time card. What's up, brother? All governors are strong governors, Duck Mouse. The thing that I want to know is, obviously, you know, when Francesca wins, I want to help her on the political side. We need to get like everybody lined up behind her. We need Bernie Sanders. We need AOC. We need Zohran Mamdani come out here and campaign for her. If she's out of she'll be out of the primary. She'll just be helping run against a conservative. Like, we need to like get her, we need her to have as many reinforcements as possible once she wins. And then I want to start talking about to Zohran and Bernie about who we can bring into Hong's regime, you know, her government. You know, I like policy people, intellectuals. You know, obviously we need as many Wisconsin people. You know, it can't be just outsiders, and we need as many Wisconsin progressives as possible. Her regime, hell yeah, her administration. Unfortunately, Zohran isn't going to campaign for anyone else until AOC 2028. So I've heard. Not in the general election. I think that's wrong. In the primary, that makes sense. In the general election, that would be insane. I think he doesn't want to do primaries, but supporting Democrats in general elections against Republicans seems like it would be very foolish not to do that. In fact, I would call that criminally insane. It's so much so that I would bet you money that's not correct. Also general because of the coastal moniker. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a shit? What are you talking about? Stop buying into these dumb establishment ideas. No one cares about this. It's not 1985 anymore, man. 2026. What are you talking about? Stop it. Like, what the fuck are you saying? Oh, Fabian, that's a really good question. Honestly, it's a little bit early to ask. All right. Sarah Heidler, a policy analyst at East Harlem, originally planned to support incumbent Representative Adriano Espaillat until she saw Daria Lisa on Midas Touch. My actual belief are to the left of Democrats. I don't want a moderate. The rise of independent media has been part of a digital transformation that transcends politics, as chronically online Americans are turning toward news from social media and content creators. But it's not just the popularity of smartphones driving that change. There's a complete lack of trust in any and all institutions now. Somebody said 100,000 holes filled. It's actually 175,000 potholes now. This has led people to turn to individuals, and so now you're picking your flavor of person to listen to. Among conservatives, faith in mainstream media and in more moderate wing of the Republican Party faltered years ago, with the rise of the Tea Party movement paving the way for alternative right-wing media ecosystems, including sites like Daily Caller, Breitbart, and The Blaze. Trump also tapped into a loose constellation of podcasts, including the Joe Rogan Experience, for a successful comeback campaign. Reese Peck, a media culture professor at the College of Staten Island, said the left-wing version of that has happened slowly, beginning with the momentum of Senator Bernie Sanders' first presidential run in 2016. At the time, left-wing anti-establishment YouTube accounts and podcasts like The Young Turks and Chapo Trap House were gaining attention, but didn't reach the majority of Democratic voters. Now Democrats have realized their faith in institutions didn't prevent Trump's return. The ground has been made fertile for anti-establishment media politics, where there just wasn't quite there with the voter base in those previous cycles. Even older moderate liberals have started to throw their hands in the air and look for alternatives. YouTube accounts like Secular Talk and Breaking Point, streamers like Hasan Piker, and new digital journalism organizations like More Perfect Union and the Lever are among those that have seen their audiences multiply. Brim said Dropsite News has amassed 800,000 free and 60,000 paid subscribers since launching 2 years ago, more than he anticipated. Saul Levin, a Michigan progressive organizer who recently started his own podcast about artificial intelligence data centers, that Trump's attacks on the existing media landscape are part of the reason for that growth. The investigations and raids on numerous different journalists, the appointment of specifically aligned billionaires to lead various news agencies is very troubling. Creators and new media outlets are stepping in and trying to fill the gaps. You keep freezing? I don't think I'm freezing, am I? Chad, am I freezing? The Michigan primary will be the latest test of evolving media ecosystem, with El Sayed, a longtime podcaster himself, has tried to harness. Various progressive outlets, creators, and organizers have aggressively promoted his campaign. El Sayed said the rise of independent media has left voters compare news across different channels and notice bias. But he doesn't turn down opportunities on legacy media either. I go on Fox News. I've got podcasts. I Twitch stream. We have a YouTube channel. Stevens, who received endorsements from outgoing incumbent Senator Gary Peters, Gretchen Whitmer, and Chuck Schumer, has a more traditional approach. He's also packed up by AIPAC, which have spent close to $30 million. I think there's now $75 million in outside spending. Stevens' campaign declined to comment. Reporting from progressive outlets has influenced how races have unfolded. For example, Stevens parted ways with the campaign consultant when Dropsite revealed that she had worked for tech company Palantir, which is controversial in liberal circles because of its government contracts involving immigration enforcement. Democratic officials said Trump's return to the White House has also revived interest in the party's official channels. At times, the mix of new voices on the left has erupted in public tensions. Grimm recently faced criticism for boosting failed Democratic candidate Graham Plattner in Maine. And then Grimm talking about the assault allegations. He apologized, blah, blah, blah. More recently, when Dropsite interviewed progressive U.S. Rep. Ro Khanna of California, one of his journalists pressed Khanna on whether Hamas was justified to attack Israeli soldiers. Khanna refused to agree, but Grimm said those kind of tough questions independent media are there to ask, that American voters increasingly want to see their representatives in Congress answer. People want to see you being held accountable to questions. And if they don't agree with you, sometimes that's fine. I think the smarter politicians are starting to recognize that. Well, it's also, how do I put it? The base of the Democratic Party is left-wing. And for the longest time, the media was able to keep the options to be centrist or right. And so Democratic voters for the longest time, they just voted for the most left-wing candidate they could, which was that corporate centrist. But now, finally, left-wing candidates, they're able to get their message out. They're able to compete. And now a true grassroots movement is forming that is closer to the views of the actual base. Is this a legitimate pollster? No, but it doesn't matter. They are correct. I wouldn't consider the argument is a centrist Democrat Zionist publication. And as I've been saying, chat, is this year it's going to be a landslide. If you're the Democrat on the ballot, it's going to be a landslide. It's just that simple. You're gonna fucking, if you can't win this year, you never can win. Like, this year is landslide year. Like, that is the reality. And so when people are talking about like, oh, I don't know if ABDUL can win, I don't know if Francesca can win, they're gonna win. They're going to fucking win. They polled America Deserved 9/11 in the Wisconsin governor poll. Did they not do a head-to-head? Did they not poll head-to-head? This must be a right-wing. This must be a right-wing org. Institute for Reforming Government. Because they didn't publish a head-to-head. They must have. Oh, they did. Okay. So even this right-wing thing, they have Hong beating Tiffany. I want to see name recognition. Where's the name recognition numbers? Why is this so bad? Eliminate the income tax. Free market is the most popular brand in Wisconsin. You don't say. Amazing. This is a name recognition. This is a name recognition test. Basically it. Generic Dem 51, generic Rep 45. Francesca Hogg has lower name recognition with general election voters. It doesn't matter. Mandela Barnes has the highest. That's all this is. People identify his name as the Democrat. They see him. They saw him ran for office before. It's literally, this is it. I actually think, and again, it doesn't matter. This is a name recognition gap. You'll see it's all it is. It's all it fucking is. And don't worry, she's going to have plenty of name recognition. All right, chat. Let's watch the Hasan versus Hasan debate. Hasan Piker versus Mehdi Hasan interview. This motherfucker, Mehdi Hasan, goes after Francesca for hanging out with me and Hasan, and then he's practically glazes Mehdi, practically glazes Hasan the next day. Which reminds me, chat, this hype video legitimately has made me so happy. We need more hype videos. My narcissism needs this.
You appeared on controversial live streams. They're with a guy called Mike from Pennsylvania.
Chat. But you're also on the show of a streamer called Mike from PA.
Francesca Hong is now leading the polls in the state's Democratic primary for governor.
Claire Valdez, she came on my stream. Say hi to the Central Committee stream.
Hi, Central Committee stream. Wow,
okay.
Excited to be here.
And so she got the Mike from PA bump.
Claire Valdez has been declared the winner there by the Associated.
By the way, it sounds like I'm so serious, and I was kidding. That's what's so great about this hype edit, is I was kidding about the Mike. Obviously, it was New York City DSA. You know what I mean? But I like the way I'm just like, she got the Mike from PA bump.
expressed.
And we call it the Mike from PA difference. Oh, fuck. It's so good, dude. It's so good. I thought you were serious. That's why it's so funny. That's why it rules. Because even if I am serious, what are the haters going to say? No, you hurt her, actually. And it's like, okay, she won by a landslide. Guess it didn't hurt her that much. A lot of people don't get my humor. Yeah, I know. The argument that Mandela Barnes was better against Tiffany fell apart under any scrutiny because he had maxed out name recognition and only eked out +3 during a blue tsunami year. He was a uniquely horrible candidate, but the media was gaslighting hardcore. Hung his low recognition and still kept it close against Tiffany, so she'll win by 20 in the general. The other thing is, like, there's a lot of, like, intra-party gripes happening because Tiffany is not having a primary, but Hong is. So a lot of the, like, Democrats who don't want to vote for her are kind of being like mad about it, which always happens. But after she wins and she just makes general gestures of like, I love the Democrats, we all love each other, a lot of those people are just going to come home, right? So it is what it is. Did you end up? Oh yeah, I need to donate 500 more to Donovan. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that just for the W. Need to donate 500 more. Let us watch the Hasan versus
Imagine
Hasan.
buying your kid a toy only to find the batteries aren't included. Or buying furniture, but it's missing the tools to build it. Frustrating, right? Now imagine...
Okay, what the fuck is this ad? I am not watching. I'm not watching any of your ads until you bring me on to the Not Kidding podcast.
/not kidding to learn more. How is it that a 34-year-old Turkish-American socialist Twitch streamer is now a kingmaker in the Democratic Party of the United States?
I think this is a much larger movement. I don't think anyone is a kingmaker.
Do you believe that the rise of...
Stop being such a fucking humble boy. Obviously, he has to say this, but I hope in his mind he doesn't believe it. We can literally get $100,000 dropped on anybody's doorstep and 500 volunteers. Who else could do that? Who else can fucking do that? 500 like hardcore volunteers that will call all night. How deep were we in the interview? 5 seconds.
Is a supply issue or a demand issue?
You got here just in time.
If Abdul El-Sayed wins, will you take some credit?
You're right, I did.
If he loses, will you take some responsibility?
I think that this race will shock the world.
You are a lightning rod. Is it weird for you to be hearing all these prominent Democrats just using you as the punch bag? I was on the PBD podcast.
Yeah, Patrick cooked you.
Yeah, Patrick cooked me, okay.
There is power in shamelessness. Donald Trump has proven that.
We got to talk about a big topic, and that is a man named Tucker Carlson.
He's a phenomenal communicator, and that's what makes him so dangerous.
I don't believe J.D. Vance believes anything sincerely.
J.D. Vance is on janitorial duty right now.
The Bill Maher, Joe Rogans, they do this free speech champion stuff. They don't have people who come on and disagree with them or call them out.
Zoran has done a pretty good job, but in ways that annoy me sometimes. I'm like, shut the fuck up, dude.
Are we really going to end the show on you saying, shut the fuck up, Zoran, I'm done?
I mean, come on.
What a twist.
They're going to arrest me as soon as I get out of this podcast if you keep talking about this.
I'm Mehdi Hasan.
I'm Hasan Piker.
And we're not kidding. This is a podcast where I get to talk to funny people about serious things, but also funny things too, I hope. Hasan Piker, welcome to the show.
It's an honor to be here.
It's an honor to be here. It's taken ages to get you on the show.
I know.
Get you in D.C.
I hate being in D.C.
Well, you're here now. Oh, you miss L.A.?
No, it's not that I love L.A. I mean, I do like L.A. That's why I live there. But I feel like every time I'm in this town, the aura of evil is so palpable. Like, it's a beautiful city. There are
actually Washington, like Northern Virginia, Washington D.C. That area is actually really nice, to be honest. And the D.C. Metro, kind of good. And the public spaces of D.C. are kind of good. D.C. is actually not bad.
Phenomenal people that live here, but then
like, I'm sorry, but the Potomac and the Bay are kind of fun. You know, you just get down on your cabin cruiser, cruise down to the bay. Like, come on. Who doesn't love that?
It's just overshadowed by the metric ton of evil that you experience and you feel on a daily basis. Like, I'm staying at a hotel and I'm walking around and there's like, I'm looking around, I'm like, there's like war criminals here right now.
That's you humble bragging that you're staying at a really nice hotel.
That's not what my intention was with that.
That's how it came across. It is good to see you in town. This is our casual podcast. You're very dressed up, but you dress up a lot these days. You're in a suit, I see you. Yeah. I thought you'd be in a suit today. What is this Chairman Mao outfit you are rocking
This is
today?
a Zhongshan suit. So this is a traditional Chinese suit. When they initially... in China, I think it was like the nationalists as well, originally started dressing up in a more Western style. And this was like that first iteration of it. And when I went to China in Shanghai, I met this tailor who came from this long lineage who actually invented the Zhongshan suit. So I made them make me one, and I really liked it.
They made it in the time you were in China?
They made it while I was there, yeah. But then I liked it so much, they already had my sizes, so I was like, send me another one.
This is going to be like the part of a U.S. Treasury Department investigation to Hasan Piker's ties to China. His suits.
Yeah. Are we? Do you want to get into that? We can get into all of that.
We'll get into a lot of things
There's a
today.
lot going on that front.
There is. Well, hold on. Is there a lot going on that front? Because last time you were on the podcast, you were on Beyond Israelism with Simone Zimmerman not too long ago.
Yeah.
It was shortly after Fox were talking about you being investigated by the Justice Department, apparently. Has anything come of that?
No.
Okay, good.
But I do think that there is a broader like RICO that they're trying to establish for the entire left movement and whatever they can like add on as different tentacles to it. So I haven't even received a subpoena from the Treasury Department, and that investigation seemingly has gone really nowhere. But I think the ultimate goal of that investigation, as I clocked early on, was not necessarily to come after people like myself. I think we're secondary. They just want to establish like a big racketeering case around probably Roy Singham.
This is one of the funders of Code Pink.
Yeah, he's just a centimillionaire who sold his company. He's a radical guy. He sold his company to Microsoft, made a lot of money, and then just moved to China. And he's been an activist for a very long time. I've never met the guy. I just knew of him, and knew that he had fundraised a lot, or he'd funded a lot of political organizations that like helped him get started. And the American government doesn't like that at all.
I said this recently on a stream that Donald Trump continues to morph into George W. Bush by the day. We've had a big presentation at the White House with CIA intel about the election. Since that felt very 2003. The CIA says China interfered in our election, which it doesn't say, by the way. And then, of course, the bombing of Iran, the embrace of neocons, and now the constant. You saw Stephen Miller and Marco Rubio's deranged speeches the other day talking about left-wing terrorism and cracking down on the left. They are very worried about the rise of the left. There is a rise of the left. You've been part of it. You've been identified.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm a patriotic American. I am
small C conservative.
I'm small C conservative. I always say the freer the markets, the freer the people.
You always say that.
I always say that. I also,
ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, elder millennials are supreme. Elder millennial supremacy. IH, Abdul El Sayed, plus 54. I often tell people I graduated college in 2008. Of course, I'm the most left-wing person in the fucking internet. They're like, congratulations, you owe a lot of money, but there are no jobs. Anyway, fuck you. Elder millennial supremacy. Gen Z, get your shit together. What's going on here? Gen Z, what's going on here? Young millennials and elder Gen Z, what's going on? Stop worrying about being cringe. Embrace it.
Say, socialism only works in theory until you run out of other people's money.
People can't see off camera. We've got Ayn Rand books piled up.
Actually, 30 to 39 is not. That's young. That's Gen Z. That's millennial. That's millennial as well. That's young millennial. Because I think all millennials have turned 30, right? There's no more 20-year-old millennials, right? All millennials are 30, right? Wasn't it this year that they all turned 30? Or was that? So like we have 5 more months, right? 1996. So we have 5 more months of millennials that are still 29. There's a couple millennials that are still hanging on by their nails to the 20s. Yeah, so December 31st this year is the last millennial turning 30. The last millennial has finally turned 30. We're not young anymore. Stop saying we're young. We're fucking old.
To read on your flight.
No, I'm such a small C conservative. I'm illiterate now. I leaned in fully. I forgot how to read and write.
Because of the elite literature industry.
Yeah, because I hate. Yeah, reading is woke and gay.
Why were you in New York on the night of the Democratic primaries? I was enjoying yourself with all these wins that we saw in New York. You were there. We saw you there.
I don't know what you're talking
Valdez,
about. I don't know what you're talking about.
Elisa,
Must have been
Avina
somebody
Chevalier,
else.
Brad Lander, Melat Kiros, who was just on your stream, who won in Colorado. All these lefties, or almost all of these lefties who are winning, there is a link to you. You've backed them. You've public talked. Some of them you've campaigned with. How is it that a 34-year-old Turkish-American socialist Twitch streamer is now a kingmaker in the Democratic Party of the United States? Liking this video? Then don't just watch. Hit like, share, and subscribe. And tap the bell so you never miss a video or live show. But if you want early access to exclusive content, then you have to head to Zateo.com and subscribe now. You'll be supporting fearless, independent journalism.
Mehdi calls out Shannon. She's already said El Sayed's embrace of Hasan Piker is a non-starter, but of course Favreau is demanding women support his candidate instead of demanding his candidate distance themselves from Hasan Piker. Isn't Hillary Schlotton having an affair with a Republican candidate? Like, isn't that what's happening? I thought there was a rumor that she was fucking some Republican. I'm sorry. Like, I don't usually care that much about people's, you know, having affairs and stuff in politics because that's I think it's like a weird puritanical America. Obviously, if you have an affair, you're a scumbag, you know. But I don't think that it, you know, I think people obsess over that to avoid talking about policies. But if you're fucking the enemy, that's insane. Fucking a Republican politician while you're a Democrat politician is insane. That's fucking insane. And you should be judged for that. That's insane.
Well, first of all, I don't think I'm a kingmaker. I think this is a much larger movement. I don't think anyone is a kingmaker. I don't think Zoran is a kingmaker.
An appropriately modest answer.
No. I'm not even like I'm not even demonstrating humility. I'll take ownership over some of those victories, like where I feel like I've made the most impact, right? Where I feel like maybe even some of these races are overlooked. But ultimately, this is a real movement that we've been working to build for the last decade or so. I think from failure after failure, every single time people have gone back to the drawing board and figured out new ways of reaching as many people as possible. I'm a firm believer that there is no such thing as a spontaneous revolution, and I think that we have to be organized, we have to be disciplined, and we have to be ready for when the moment comes when people start recognizing that this system is fundamentally flawed.
And I'll come back to system just on you before we move on.
Yeah.
Clearly you've played a role, even if you're not a kingmaker.
Yeah.
Is that a role you saw yourself when you were making videos for TYT, when you were in college, you moved here from Turkey? Do you see yourself as the Twitch gaming streamer guy who's also dabbling in national and international politics?
Yes and no. Like I always had a lot of hubris. I think I always
Some
thought,
of us noticed. No, kidding.
yeah, I always thought that I was destined for something, right? I don't know what it was, and I just kind of go along with the wind. But I did not think that I would have this much impact. I did not think that we would get to a point where the overwhelming majority of Americans are pro-Palestine, for example.
I never imagined I'd see that.
Yeah, so there have been dramatic shifts in public consciousness, and I'm honored to have played a small role in that, as you have as well. But I just did not think that the broader shifts would happen in general.
And it's not just a shift on Palestine. We'll come to Palestine. Just sticking with socialism. That was a dirty word until very recently. The S word.
Yeah.
I mean, going back to FDR, people were calling FDR a socialist. People were calling Truman a socialist. Truman famously said, whatever, call me whatever you want. The S word has had a lot of value for Republicans. I feel like they overused it, right? When they throw it everywhere.
Yeah.
If Obama's a socialist, if Joe Biden's a socialist, if Kamala Harris is a socialist, communist apparently, Marxist. Yeah. Then when the real socialists come along, people are, oh, Bernie Sanders and Zoran Mamdani, they don't seem so bad. And I wonder, you to go back to free market principles, do you think the
which
rise
I admire and adore,
we both love, do you believe that the rise of socialism in America is a supply issue or a demand issue? Is it being led by, is it because you have all these people pushing it now and people are like, wow, we like Zoran Mamdani, we like this Claire Valdez, we like Bernie and AOC? Or is it a demand issue from the public just saying, we are fed up with this broken system, give us something else?
It's both.
Okay.
It can't be one or the other.
It's in the moment.
Yeah, that's why
I think like the reason why people are even articulating these demands is because they are common sense within the popular base. And AOC and Zoran and Bernie, they give legitimacy to the views. It's a cycle. It's a virtuous cycle, right? Like I can feel like the government's fucked up, but then when a senator goes up there and says it is fucked up, it is corrupt, and and that guy is vying for national power, now suddenly your intuitions and your views about and your suspicions get validated. And we're having and the energy around these people is positive, and so it's a continual feedback loop, right? And so obviously they're feeding off of each other.
I said that, there's always going to be ideologues, there's always going to be fighters, but there's a severe crisis in class consciousness in this country. My understanding, or our understanding on the broader left, is that class war happens, right? It's already happening. It's happening all the time. And there is a group of people that are class conscious, and there's a group of people who aren't. It's the billionaires, the capital owning class, that are class conscious and waging class war, albeit very successfully. And a part of that is that the working class are oblivious to their position. They are unaware that they're being screwed over by this system that has been designed in a way to create these unjust outcomes, because it's very beneficial for the capital owning class. So my goal always has been to first and foremost foment class consciousness amongst the masses and help people recognize their class position and realize that the real dividing line is around those who are of the working class and being exploited versus those who are in the billionaire, millionaire, capital owning class that are doing the exploitation, and not on these different lines, like these ethnic tensions, racial divisions around your gender identity, your sexuality, and vice versa.
You and I are not working class, or are from working class backgrounds. Are we class traitors?
To a certain degree, yes. I don't really own a business necessarily. Like everything I do, I'm like owned and operated by myself. But yeah, I mean,
I do now.
I know you were on Patrick Bet David, and he called you out for it. He was like, "How,
Hasan, you own a business. Hasan, you own a business. Stop. You have assistants. You have editors. You own a business." Now, obviously, it's any time you have petit bourgeois, where the labor of the capitalist is mixed with the labor of their employees. It's complicated. It's been complicated since the beginning, right? The petit bourgeois are a swing demographic in politics. In some circumstances, they are reactionary or horribly reactionary. In other circumstances, they could be part of a revolutionary coalition. Like, if you look at the Chinese flag and the 5 stars of the Chinese flag, petit bourgeois are one of those stars. Like, they can't be reactionary, but they could also be revolutionary. Small business, it's a toss-up group.
how can you say you're a socialist? I love Patrick.
We'll come back to Patrick. We're going to talk about Patrick Bet David, don't you worry. But while we're on the subject of lefty candidates, the rise of socialism, actually, a candidate who is not a socialist but is running a very lefty campaign is ABDUL El-Sayed in Michigan, running a very progressive insurgent campaign in the Senate Democratic primary there in a key swing state. You've been stumping hard for him. You've campaigned for him. You look at the polls this week, Hasan. The polls are interesting. They're kind of all over the place. You have a Detroit News poll that shows Haley Stevens, the centrist establishment pro-Israel candidate, the sitting congresswoman, at 48%, and ABDUL El-Sayed at 41%. And then you have a Data for Progress poll that has, I think it's an internal ABDUL poll, which shows him at 54% and Stevens at 41%. Mm-hmm. How are you reading these mixed polls? Are you worried?
So both of those, no, I'm not. Both of those polls are technically should be read as internal polls. So the Data for Progress comes from, I think, a super PAC, and the Detroit one, the Glenn Gariff one, is actually a poll that has overestimated Haley Stevens' chances the entire time and actually endorsed Haley Stevens. So both are favorable polls to the respective partners. Having said that, I think what's more important than poll watch, which can show you the trend, is looking at the number of small dollar donations, looking at the on the ground excitement. And I think those are far better markers of who will inevitably win elections. At least in my experience, that's what it's looked like every single time. And we've had a couple upsets. Melot Kiros and Daria Liza are the two big upsets that I think a lot of people were not expecting.
And they didn't even win narrowly. They won comfortably.
Yeah, Daria Liza was like the closer one, and she was still, I believe, up 5 points against the incumbent.
Well, this race is clearly going to be close, and no one expected otherwise, especially after Mallory McMorrow, the third candidate, pulled out.
We'll see.
You don't think it's going to be close?
It's not going to be close. It's not going to be close. And this is something that I've been saying for a long time. This is, again, certified Mike from PA prediction. It's not going to be close. It's going to be a fucking landslide. And I've said that. Why? Because the pollsters that are assuming a close election are using data for elections that are conditions that are fundamentally different than now. We have unbelievable progressive enthusiasm at a level we've never seen before, and millennials especially are coming into their own politically, and they are firmly on the left. And on the right side of the party, enthusiasm is low. So, you know, we are looking at a situation where the left, if it could get its message out and properly identify themselves as the left-wing candidate, wins. The only time they lose is when they cannot get over that hump and get their message out at a high enough level. That's it.
I think
you heard it here first, folks.
I think that this race will shock the world.
Oh,
yeah, that's what I think.
I mean, they are throwing a lot of money now into this race. Obviously, the UDP, the United Democracy Project, which is AIPAC's PAC, super PAC, has spent $15 million in recent weeks. New York Times has a number of $28 million total from AIPAC or its affiliates just for Haley Stevens.
Yeah.
They're spending 10 times as much on TV ads as ABDUL Sayed right now. We know the power of TV ads in a lot of these primary races. What do you make of the money that's being spent in this race, and especially AIPAC, of course? And now we're on now we're onto sensitive territory, because you say AIPAC because you're being anti-Semitic conspiracy theorists, even though AIPAC themselves bragging about how much money they're spending.
Yeah, I mean, it makes total sense. AIPAC has done this already with Wesley Bell. AIPAC did this against Jamal Bowman as well, and those were primary races for the House of Representatives, right? Like the Senate seat is far more consequential. There's less senators. More powerful. It's the upper chamber. And I think it's terrifying that there is an avowed anti-Zionist, pro-Medicare for all, anti-corporate PAC expenditure candidate out there who is a Bernie-crat through and through. They don't want that in the Senate. And when I say they, I don't mean just AIPAC. I mean all of these other big corporations definitely are terrified, and that's precisely the reason why the total expenditure, outside expenditure so far, has been around 54.
Media at 6:55. We may not know the outcome tonight. Media at 7:10. Or decision desk. I'm kind of thinking maybe I should fly to Michigan for Tuesday. I'm starting to think maybe I should go. I'm like starting to think I might need to go to the Michigan race, because they're gonna fucking win by so much. It's gonna be a party the whole night.
$1 million.
Insane
Haley
numbers.
Stevens is a non-entity on the ground. She every now and then
this shit is popping off right now. Genocide is good. We have to vote blue no matter what. I might run for president. I'm voting for JD Vance. Oh, holy shit. I mean, you know what else is popping off? Me making fun of him. I posted the what the fuck was that? I posted the God damn it. Twitter, you fucking idiot. Twitter, you so fucking stupid. I hate Twitter so fucking much. Fuck you, Twitter, you pieces of fucking shit. Fuck Twitter. What was I saying? I posted the Destiny versus Destiny.
It's such an unbelievable
thing. And it got 4.2k likes. Destiny likes to pretend that people don't debate him because they're scared of him. I debated him on AOC, and he might be the dumbest political commentator I've ever encountered. He didn't know that rich people borrow against their assets to avoid taxes. Oh, they got so fucking... They're so mad over this one. Sarah Longwell and the Bulwark losers are going to vote for Narco Rubio or JD Vance. I mean, like, personally, for me, I feel like I want the neocons to go back to the Republican Party. Like, if the left is going to, like, realign the country, all the neocons have to go to the Republican Party. If the Republican Party needs to be the party of imperialism, and that's a party that gets 30% of the vote. That's how the Democrats get the Green New Deal, is because everybody hates those people. By leaving the tent, our tent is better. They stink of poo.
I think these guys have failed so publicly and so spectacularly that it has caused people to seek out alternatives.
I see.
Oh my God, he's still... Oh, Hasan is in the suit, and he's the sloppy guy? Oh, they are cooked.
Challenges from the, quote, progressive left. And these people are too hard-headed to know that they're not popular. People don't like them. They don't win elections. They never run against Republicans. They just run against other Democrats. And their only message is, we're going to blow everything up.
James Carville says this is all going to implode at the general.
Yeah, as opposed to previous neoliberal Democratic candidacies that have been spectacular successes so far. Hillary Rodham Clinton in 2016 and Kamala Harris in 2024. There are a lot of people who are just like, this is not working. Cost of living crisis is completely out of control. Democrats haven't done anything about it. Republicans haven't about it. There has to be a different alternative.
I have one simple philosophy. Winning is everything. Let's think of...
I mean, that's true. He's right about that. Winning is everything. But at the same time, if you don't do anything once you've won, then it's about nothing but your personal advancement. And this is something that I just tweeted. And I think everybody needs to understand this, which is even if progressives are 2% less electable in the next election, their policy platform is the only hope to reverse long-term trends that are pushing the country in the direction of fascism. Centrist wins will not deliver any change, and thus the greater trends win out. And like that's the point that I need you to understand. Like when the centrists win, and we see this around the world, right? When the centrists win, they don't do anything with power. And so the greater trends and thermostatic effects kick in and the far right grows, right? Like that is the problem is like the centrists, you win the next election and then you don't do anything with the power. And the right keeps coming because the cost of living crisis keeps growing. The contradictions of our imperialist foreign policy and the consequences of it keep happening. And people are more and more disillusioned because their lives are worse than their parents. And they're pissed off about it. And they want someone to blame. Centrists say, be grateful. Mark Carney said, more pipelines, wildfires be damned. Yeah. And this is, of course, a brand new, it's a reply. It's a reply to, underlying the less recent argument is that they are equally more electable than moderates, and it is an insanely optimistic view of the American electorate. In their view, they do not apply to literally any other aspect of their analysis. I personally believe that the average progressive is probably slightly less electable against the Republican because the Democratic Party establishment stabs them in the back, right? Like the Democratic Party establishment does everything it can to signal to as many people as they can that the left is unelectable and bad. And so that probably does some amount of damage to the progressive candidate. However, the progressive candidate makes up for that damage by bringing in a bunch of new people. So on net, it's probably like 1% or a wash in most situations until they win. And once they win and everybody experiences the progressive, they tend to love them and they tend to be in office forever. Okay. They tend to love those people. And if they're actually able to, if the progressives were able to like pass their policies, it would realign politics.
This game is to keep.
She pops up and does a couple safe events.
And even at the safe events, she says some weird stuff. And if you say it's weird,
now you're
being misogynistic.
You're being you're being a classic woman-hating Muslim. Which is what I think because I'm a small C conservative.
Well, they've said it about Abdul. They've said it about you. They'll say it about me. In my defense, you know, I call a lot of Republicans weirdos. I call a lot of Democrats weirdos.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to describe someone who says Israel comes to me in my dreams as.
You know what I call them? The next senator from Michigan because I love all of that. That's my favorite type of
Abdul
politics.
El Sayed recently tweeted, Hasan, it's become impossible to ignore the way that people online make fun of my opponent for things that have nothing to do with their policies or politics. It's unkind and unhelpful. If you support me, please stop. Some people say he's talking about you.
That's Shannon Watts saying that. No, I don't think he's talking about me because he could talk to me.
Do you agree with that sentiment?
I agree with the sentiment, but I also disagree with it at the same time. So I agree that, and I even brought this up before he even tweeted that out, like a couple days prior to this, where I was like, I think people are focusing a little too much on how folksy Haley Stevens is, right? And what people should be focusing on instead is how utterly devoid of policy her campaigning has been, and also how bought and sold she is to AIPAC and numerous other corporations. Like those are the real problems here. That's why Abdul
and that's
should
unique
win.
to Haley Stevens because whatever you think of Mallory McMorrow, she didn't have as bad a record or as much outside spending. Like there's a difference between Mallory McMorrow and Haley Stevens.
Mallory McMorrow called Haley Stevens out a lot during her campaign. So I agree with him on that front. What I disagree with him in principle is leaning in any way, shape, or form, or conceding in any way, shape, or form to bad faith attacks.
Because they never accept those.
That's not.
They just want more.
It actually backfires because what ends up happening, and I gave this. I gave this advice to Democrats. It's free advice on my stream all the time during the 2024 election as well, where I was like, never apologize for something you don't have to apologize for. Never accept your opposition's framing.
Yeah, agreed.
And if you ever do apologize for something, your opposition is going to take that in bad faith and then say, see, they're taking ownership over it. So now all of a sudden it's a story.
Yeah.
If Abdul had said nothing, maybe there would be some articles about it. Maybe they would constantly try to get him to address it. And then Abdul could come across as saying, the real story here, I don't necessarily have anything to say about the way Haley Stevens sounds. I think it's silly. What the real story is how devoid of policy she is.
Democrats should not be on the defensive. The left is often in a defensive posture, often appeasing bad faith actors, often denying things they shouldn't have to deny. I'm always reminded of that apocryphal story of LBJ. Apocryphal story that LBJ is running for Congress in Texas early on in his career, and he tells his team about his primary opponent, you should put it out there, he's a farmer, and he said, you should put it out there that he fucks his pigs.
Oh, yeah.
And his team like, so we can't say that, he doesn't fuck his pigs. And he says, yeah, I know that, I just want to hear him deny it.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the classic kind of the bad faith approach to politicking. On that note, there have been a number of attack ads on you, Hasan. I'm sure you've seen them. On El Sayed, actually, on Abdul, featuring you. There was a mailer that says El Sayed embraced a podcaster that said America deserved 9/11. And then there's commercials like this one. We have a clip.
Oh, there's a commercial.
Meet Abdul El Sayed.
I'm the only person on the stage who said, and I have the courage to say that we gotta apologize.
And that's not all. Abdul campaigned with anti-Israel radical Hasan Piker.
What do you say to that?
I think that's the Republican attack ad that they put out because they're trying to Pied Piper it, which is really funny. Because that's not a real attack ad. That's a promo. That's a promotional piece. You know how they...
Yes.
Hillary Clinton did this with Donald Trump,
yes, and it backfired.
Which, as we know, backfired spectacularly.
If Abdul El Sayed wins, will you take some credit?
No, I'll just say the same thing I've always been saying, which is that this is a broader movement. And
if he loses, will you take some responsibility?
Absolutely not.
I was trying to check for consistency. That's a very consistent answer.
Yeah.
Look, you are a lightning rod in a way that it's happened very fast. I've known you for many years, and in the last couple of years, especially post October 7th, post the 2024 election, you've become this lightning rod. We went through a weird roller coaster where after the 2024 election, is this the left's Joe Rogan? I was like, how many fucking profiles are we going to read about Hasan Piker?
Yeah.
It's like every time I open the New York Times or New York Magazine or whatever it is, there's a glossy profile of you working out somewhere, not in a Chinese suit.
Yeah.
And then it changed quite quickly into you are evil personified. You are this anti-Semite. Since earlier this year, just this year, Mallory McMorrow.
Mike, more content later. AOC is going to go on Majority Report. Hell yeah.
We mentioned a moment ago, compared you to Nick Fuentes, the Nazi, called you misogynistic and anti-Semitic. Josh Gottheimer, congressman from New Jersey, said all elected officials should condemn your rhetoric. Andrew Cuomo, remember him? He said that Zoran Mamdani, he said on the debate stage.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're watching that live debate. I wonder what you thought when you heard your name.
I knew it was going to happen.
Mamdani should condemn Hasan Piker, he said. Neera Tanden, former Obama and Clinton official, now head of the Center for American Progress, said AIPAC would spend $50 million to defeat any candidate campaigning with Hasan Piker. I'm definitely against super PAC money, but let's get real. Is it weird for you to be hearing all these prominent Democrats just using you as the punch bag?
No, it's expected. I think I'm the perfect guy to draw all of their enmity. I'll draw all the aggro. I can tank it. I've been in a very contentious.
But it's not weird. This is happening suddenly in your life. Like for 33 years, you were just like a streamer, and that 34th year, you're the enemy of the Democratic Party establishment, and they hate you.
Yeah, but the hatred is coming from the success of this movement. So who cares? Let them hate. I don't care about what they think of me. I just want to win. I want to win for the working class, and I want to make sure that we have real fighters that get elected.
So a lot of the attacks on you are clearly bad faith and bullshit. A lot of the attacks on you are because you're anti-Israel and anti-Zionism. If you weren't, they wouldn't care what you said on your streams. Let's just be real about that. At the same time, there is no denying that you've said some stuff that's pissed a lot of people off in good faith. People who are not hardcore supporters of Israel. I watched your appearance on Simone Zimmerman's Beyond Israelism podcast. If you don't watch Beyond Israelism, tune in, a great Zateo podcast. Hasan was on the show, and I heard you say to Simone, it's like, Mehdi's always texting me about these clips of mine. And I do clip you because I don't watch or stream as religiously as everyone else. I don't have 8 free hours of the day. But I do see these clips. People send this to me because I end up, A, being associated with you because we're both critics of Israel in the media. B, we're both called Hasan. And C, I go on a lot of these podcasts. I was on the PBD podcast.
Yeah.
And they brought you up. But before we get to that, just deal with some classics. Sorry, I know you've gone through as well. But
Patrick cooked you.
But Patrick cooked me. Okay. We saw the ad just now. The classic one they throw you. America deserved 9/11.
Yeah.
You've withdrawn that comment, I believe.
Yeah, I said it in 2019, and you know, if you listen to the full conversation, you very quickly understand what I'm talking about.
You're talking about foreign policy blowback.
Yeah, we're talking about foreign policy blowback.
But you could have phrased it better because it sounds like you're saying people deserve to die.
Of course,
we don't believe that.
Again, in 2019, and then immediately I'm you know, all over Fox News and getting, you know, an unbelievable amount of death threats. I'm a big boy, I can handle it. It is what it is. But
crazy to hear Mehdi talk like this, but he brought up Central Committee to Hong. It was so clipped and lacking context. I mean, they do the same shit to Hasan. He did the same. Like, he also brought up Hasan, controversial streamers, Hasan Piker and Mike from PA. And then he did a follow-up about how I'm an evil. I have made comments about Jewish people, which is not true. Did Mehdi Hasan? No.
I you know, went on the Young Turks and famously was like, I should have phrased things better. I apologize for those who I've offended, and I most importantly apologize for giving an opportunity the right to just like use this against.
This is a 7-year-old clip that you've already explained disowned. I have the same issue. They're clips of me that I've had to talk about.
Yeah.
Jewish people calling Orthodox Jewish people inbreds.
Yeah,
the one you and I texted back and forth many times. Because I was like, why would you say this?
Yeah, I have a policy of using pejoratives when describing any kind of like ethno-racial supremacist groups.
So you call a lot of people inbreds.
I have an entire compilation of it out there somewhere.
I've got an entire compilation of calling people inbred. That's awesome.
But do you regret doing this contest because you gave a weapon to people to say?
Well, that
clearly sounds anti-Semitic.
Yeah, no, I know, but that one is like super disingenuous because like there's another one that they were like pig dog, where they're like pig dog is anti-Semitic. It wasn't even in the anti-Semitism glossary until they decided it was actually anti-Semitic. Did you know that? No. Yeah, exactly. Most people don't even know that that's supposed to be an anti-Semitic term. It's not.
So you're just a guy who likes to call people out with incendiary rhetoric, and occasionally it happens to be people who are Jewish, and therefore you're not targeting them because they're Jewish.
No, of course not. And everyone can see that, especially considering that.
No, but you say everyone can see that. Just serious point. Everyone can't see that. We live in a clip world, right?
Everyone.
So good faith people who might like your politics and like what you do, and then they go, oh man, but he said this is a clip. You're saying Orthodox Jewish people are inbred. That's anti-Semitic.
Well, I didn't say Orthodox Jews are inbred. I'm talking about I'm talking specifically about settlers. I'm talking specifically about like people that are joining the Israeli military to go invade Lebanon. It's not about
But you wouldn't use that language now. Let me ask you that question.
I still definitely utilize the term inbred quite frequently when talking about religious and ethno-supremacist groups, but with the exception of anything that touches Israel, because I don't want people to just like keep weaponizing that against me.
And they are really weaponizing, and it's not just
but it is a double standard, 100%.
100%. I agree with you on double
I've called Republicans inbred hicks my whole life. I call Nazis inbred. I call them pigs. You know, all these different things. I've gotten banned for this. I said Zionist pigs. I got banned for that. Why did I get banned for that? Because the ADL went to Twitch, went to Amazon, and made Zionism a protected identity on the platform, specifically to get me banned.
Well, that's to you.
No, literally, they did that on Twitch just for me, and eventually they got one, and then they celebrated it, and it was I ate that suspension. Ridiculous.
But your relationship with Amazon is okay now?
My relationship with Amazon is up in the air all the time. I don't know. I sometimes don't even understand why they let me exist on the platform. But
don't even say that. Don't speak it out into the existence. Don't even say that. Don't even say that. Because they're libertarian dipshits. It's fine. It's fine. They're libertarian dipshits. They're lazy. I hope every single executive at Twitch remains. I used to have a lot of criticism for Twitch. But honestly, they're just kind of libertarian dummies. Let them stay. They're just like, well, we're making money. That's fine. Let them stay.
Knock on wood.
Capitalists, gotta love them.
Yeah.
I gotta ask this question though, because it's not just about Israel. You say a lot of stuff. You do hours and hours of streams.
Yeah.
There's one clip. So, Patrick Bet-David.
The landlord.
You put me in a real position.
That was awesome.
I'm there trying to defend you, and this is what PBD says. Let's play. I talk to Hasan all the time. Don't give your opponent sticks with.
Here's the one. Watch this.
The guy is a non-violent guy. He doesn't support war or killing. He just says provocative things.
Do you have it, Rob, with audio or no?
My understanding is that the property owners who have properties there choose just not to rent it at all.
Yeah, kill them. Kill those motherfuckers.
When Dan Saltzman came on my stream. Like, that's how different those times were. He was trying to argue that you should buy airline stock right before the pandemic.
Murder those motherfuckers in the street. Let the streets soak in their fucking red capitalist bloods, dude.
Yeah, that's a dumb.
Good-looking guy.
That's a dumb thing to say.
Talented guy. Good speaker. Why would you say
I'm
something
gonna text
like
Hasan after this and say you screwed me over on the Patrick Bet David, because I'm not going to defend that. I don't know what the context for that is. So I said there, I'm going to text you afterwards. I did text you.
You texted me immediately.
I was furious at you because I'd not seen that clip.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going, he's a non-violent guy. You're like, kill the motherfuckers in the streets.
Yeah.
What did I text? What did you text me about? What was the explanation for people who want to know why?
I mean, it's first of all LARPing. Secondly, I'm literally talking
to people who LARPing
means
what LARPing is.
LARPing means live action role play, but it's just that's not a sincerely held policy position of mine, obviously. And the point is, not only was it a conversation that I was having with a former friend, not a friend anymore, who was a landlord himself at the time. You know, you can kind of hear him laughing in between, like while I'm saying that. So it's not supposed to be held sincerely. Again, from 2018. Not even like a real conversation at the time, not even a real issue at the time.
With the greatest respect to you, I'm sure you're doing great in your career. Most people are not paying attention to you.
Yeah.
And I just wondered now in 2026, you are not 2018 Hasan Piker. You're 2026 Piker, who's in Republican attack ads, mentioned in New York mayoral debates, on the campaign trail in Michigan. Do you now think, I can't say...
Listen, like, we obviously would never say, you know, bathe in the streets of American capitalist blood. But I do think an American land reform movement would be a good idea. I do think that there is a lot of people that own, you know, for example, Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg own a lot of land in America. I don't think that's okay. I think we have a housing shortage. I think we need to develop land. I think there's a lot of like land speculators in America who are just, you know, in our great American cities. For example, in Los Angeles, 33% of commercial real estate in Los Angeles is vacant. But a two-bedroom home costs $1.5 million. That is not sustainable. And the reason why they're able to keep that commercial real estate and vacant is because they don't pay any fucking taxes on it. And we're not making any more land, okay? Do you guys see what Styx is doing? Do you see what the Void is doing? He's looking at the books. Why is he doing that?
Stuff like that, because it will be weaponized, not just against me, but against people I care about and causes I care about.
No, absolutely.
So you're more careful now.
Yeah, but I have been more careful for years, which is why they always have to go back to they always have to go back to like 2018 to be like, see, this is who he is, or even earlier than that.
So what he's doing is he's trying to find all of the gnomes. Just knock down another gnome. I'm gonna take a picture because he found all these little gnomes that look like this. They're around the studio, these little gnomes, and they're just going around, and they are knocking them down. They're fighting them. They hate the gnomes.
There's the bro.
This is not just about you. It frustrates me that people on the left give the right. And I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about people on Twitter. I'm talking about members of Congress, members of Parliament. There are people on our side of the argument who just say sometimes over-emotional, batshit crazy things that is then weaponized against the entire cause.
Yeah, but
my question is, why do you have so many gnomes? Solio, the mod, put them around the studio.
What matters is who you are as a person and where you are in your life. And I give this, I am open-minded even towards people on the right who demonstrate that change.
Yes.
Unless they're, you know, grifters, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a little bit.
We are.
But ultimately,
getting it.
I don't think that this is a correct standard to apply. My standard on this is this clip representative of this person's actual worldview?
Yes.
Is it representative of what they're advancing and advocating for right now?
Yeah.
Have they changed? Have they apologized for it?
Yep.
Right? So something like that is very obviously not a sincerely held belief of mine, because if that was the case, I've talked for 21,000 hours.
Yes.
You would probably have a lot more clips of me being like, no, actually, I think we should do...
Well, there's a compilation online, I think we can play it, of you condemning anti-Semitism, standing up for Jewish people under attack. There are more clips of that, but no one sees those until somebody does a compilation.
Yeah.
And it'd be a very weird kind of anti-Semite Nick Fuentes wannabe who is saying stuff like that.
Anti-Semitism is a canary in the coal mine of fascism.
I will always
always call out anti-Semitism. It's gross, it's immoral, it is a hate crime. There is real anti-Semitism. There is actually a sense of marginalization that is valid. And the same goes for even like advocacy for violence, where I talk about like, whenever I offer analysis about structural forms of violence and what, you know, decentralized forms of violence look like, or who gets to do violence and how it's considered appropriate by the masses, people immediately go, that's an endorsement. And it's very frustrating. Like Ross Douthat did that to me when we had a New York Times podcast together, where he literally was like, oh, you're saying, I was explaining to him the concept of adventurism when talking about Luigi Mangione. As a leftist, in the leftist tradition, in the Marxist tradition, there are those, or in the Leninist tradition, there are those who actually abhor
yes, we don't agree with it. We don't think random acts of terrorism do anything. That's what makes us socialists and not anarchists. Anarchists believe in random acts of terrorism. There's different strains of anarchism. There's insurrectionary anarchism, nihilistic and anarchism. But anarchists believe in what's known as the propaganda of the deed, where just by doing random acts of terrorism, that you'll convince people that the ruling class is vulnerable, and the institutions can fall. So that's an anarchist thought. It is often associated with acts of violence perpetuated by various anarchists in the late 19th and early 20th century, including bombings and assassinations aimed at the state, the ruling class, in the spirit of anti-capitalism, and church arsons targeting religious groups. And there are very famous propagandas of the deed. We don't agree with that.
Adventurism. This is decentralized violence. It only instigates the masses. It only frustrates the masses.
What do you think of Andor's contemplation of propaganda of the deed? They didn't do that. They built They built an organization. They made collective attacks. They didn't do propaganda of the deed. If they did assassinations, it was a tactical decision. They weren't doing it for the propaganda. They were doing it for tactical reasons.
Propaganda of the deed is what the anarchists call it. But leftists want organized and structured and disciplined movements and disciplined mobilization, labor militancy in order to enact this change. Like, we don't believe in random acts of violence. It might make some people feel good in the moment, but ultimately it causes too much chaos, right? That's not a way to organize society. So I was trying to explain this concept to him. And I thought, he's a New York Times writer. He's a well-read guy for a conservative, very well-read for conservatives because he's literate, I assume. And he thought that meant he thought that was a positive term. I was saying he's going on an adventure, and that's what we left it off as.
Ignorance, maybe,
yeah,
or stupidity. It is the bad faith actors we really have to worry about.
Yeah.
Who come, and it's interesting what you said about body of work, because obviously I'm older than you. I'm a decade older than you. I've been a journalist for 26 years. I've been a public figure I've been a public figure for 17 years. And,
and you said a lot of fucked up shit about gay people, but you don't see me bringing it up. You don't see me bringing it up. Well, except for now. But, after you threw attacks at me first. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, which I guess I should send him that and be like, obviously I don't judge you by your homophobic comments from many years ago that are not representative of your current position, right?
Years ago, when I wasn't a public figure, I said some dumb shit, which I still regret. I've talked about it many times, and it's funny how people now as I become more prominent in the US, a lot of right-wingers, you'll see it, every time I post it, it'll be in the replies, and it's kind of like, this is pure bad faith, because obviously you have years and years of columns, tweets, posts, interviews, monologues, MSNBC, where I didn't say any of this stuff, where I said the opposite of this stuff, where I've stood with minority communities, Jewish communities, gay communities, but nobody cares about that, right? We don't live in a world where people look at your body of work. They look at the last clip that popped up in the algorithm.
Correct. Which is why it's bad that you're doing that against me, Mehdi. It's almost like it's weird of you to do that.
And that is obviously a source of frustration and a weapon for bad faith actors to wield.
Yeah, which is precisely the reason why I tackled the forum, where I say, look, none of this is reflective of my position at all. It's purely bad faith. And I think there's a little bit of power in that, and I wish that we would do that a little bit more, because there is power in shamelessness. Donald Trump has proven 100%. That. And I wish that we could be a little bit more bold as well on the left to just be like, look, man, it's not serious.
Yeah.
It's not a sincerely held position. I don't know why you're trying to make it out to be serious. The compilation that you said we could look at, there's like there are so many instances where I'm using metaphor. Like, I'm very clearly talking about like how vicious Democrats should be on the debate stage, where I'm like, they need to gut them. They need to gut their opponent, shank them, let their guts run.
Muslim men can't use violent metaphors.
But it's like
We're not
so
allowed.
clearly, it's so clearly metaphor. But then when they package it in this like larger compilation, it's all of a sudden like, oh, it's a call to violence. He's trying to do Islamic style jihad. And the worst version of this was when I was talking about drone warfare. Laura Loomer and Canary Mission and Vicky Palladino in New York, they took this clip of me talking about how, you know, albeit a little bit jokingly, talking about like how drone warfare has like genuinely changed the way that conflicts exist in the world. And I was saying, like, if you're still doing suicide bombing at that point, you're just doing it for the love of the game, because you could purchase a commercial drone and buy on the TikTok shop like one of these like grenade.
They suggested you're inciting violence.
Yeah, they were saying that I was teaching my audience of radical Islamic jihadists how to do drone terror attacks.
Got to be careful, Hasan.
But that's an insane environment to work in.
And I had to think twice. I often talk about when you're debating, you throw a rhetorical hand grenade into debate. You know, you pull the pin, you throw it out. It's like a mic drop. And I often use the analogy of a hand grenade. And I was thinking, should I put this in the book?
Yeah, you know who
Am
else?
I going to get hand
You know who
grenades?
else uses hand grenades? Hamas.
Yeah, so the book is Hamas.
Yeah.
The book about debating and persuading.
Reading is Hamas.
Reading is Hamas.
Yeah.
I think so.
In the name of Allah, read. That's in the Quran.
I love that Hasan Piker's quoting the Quran.
I'm just saying that's...
You're not a religious man.
No.
You're not just getting attacked by Democrats, of course. You get attacked by Republicans. Senator Rick Scott of Florida is very upset. He thinks you want to kill him.
Yeah, that was another funny one, where it's like very clearly I'm responding to Mike Johnson. And I'm not saying like someone should go out and do this thing. I'm saying like if you cared about this, you would.
You cared about fraud, I think you were talking about.
If you cared about medical fraud, you would like punish this guy who's done Medicare fraud.
You were also detained at Chicago Airport by U.S. Customs and Border Police who wanted to talk to you about Hamas and Houthis.
Yeah, and my opinion on Trump too.
And your opinion on Trump. The Treasury Department we talked about in Cuba. We don't know what's going on there. How worried are you about the Republicans in government weaponizing government to come after you?
I'm worried about my own safety, the safety of my family, but I'm more so worried about where we're headed.
Yes.
Because, look, I'm a very privileged person. I've made a lot of money in my career. I know a lot of people in, relative positions of power. And I'm an American citizen. I was born here. So if they can do that to me, right, the guy living the immigrant dream, right, the archetype, guy comes to America and builds a business, right? If they can do that to me, they're doing horrible things to everybody else, right? And they already are doing horrible things to everybody else. And a part of the reason why they want to come after me is because I'm trying to shine a light on it all the time and badger people over it, over these injustices that are going on. So from my perspective, it's just like if they come after someone like myself in that way, then it's over. Like they are successfully dismantling the democratic process and what remains of these institutions.
You have managed to piss off not just Republicans and Democrats, but foreign governments. The Labour government in the UK, by the time this airs, Keir Starmer will no longer be Prime Minister of the UK.
Yeah.
But one of his final prominent, globally recognized acts was to ban yourself from entering the United Kingdom.
Yes, Shabana Mahmood.
Muslim Home Secretary.
Yeah.
She may be the Chancellor of the Exchequer by the time this airs. She's about to be promoted by the new Prime Minister, Andy Burnham. So they banned you. What did they say was the reason for banning you?
That my presence would not be conducive to the public good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw you getting mad at me that I went to England shortly after you got
Yeah, there was a
banned.
little bit of a flex.
I mean, I'm British.
Yeah.
I'm a dual national. Like, you're Turkish American, I'm British American.
Yeah, but I can't go to Turkey.
Yeah.
I'm also de facto banned from Turkey as well.
Okay. So, yeah, it's a problem. There's a lot of countries in our line of work, a lot of countries you get banned from for speaking out. Do you hope to go back to the UK under Andy Burnham? Do you have a message? Let's to that camera. Do you have a message from Prime Minister Andy Burnham, new Prime Minister of the UK?
He watches you think? He's a fan?
I think so.
Andy Burnham, very disappointed in your potential promotion of Shabana Mahmood. I think she's horrible, and I think that spells that you're not looking forward to a different labor government, but you're actually looking inward and basically uplifting some of the worst elements of the existing labor government. And it's not just about my own personal ban, but also her decisions on what to do with migrants and immigration and refugees and whatnot. I hope that you can actually stop the austerity and reverse the now 2 decades of austerity that both the Tories and the Labor government has implemented. But if you don't do that, then you guys are going to be ruled by reform or maybe even restore. So.
That's a good flex. Look at your coverage of British politics is great there.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
Shabbat Mahmood, austerity, reform.
But they banned me for the country.
Reform, yeah, it's bad. British politics. We'll see. Andy Burnham, he said some good stuff. It's not enough. We'll see what happens. By the time this airs, he'll already be prime minister. We'll see what his first big decisions are. At least he tried to start with an apology on Gaza. We shall see how that progresses in terms of policy.
I think that's just like a little bit of ass covering. I think that's what everyone's doing now. That's all the rage.
Well, you remember the
Kamala Harris.
You remember the Omar al-Akkad book? We had him on the show a couple of years back.
Yeah. One day everyone will be against us.
We'll always have been against us.
Yeah, we'll always.
And the thing is, that prediction is not a hard one to make because we've already seen it with the Iraq War, right? Like, even Donald Trump claims to have been against the Iraq War when he very clearly was in favor of it the entire fucking time. Like, that's the thing that's disgusting is, like, in the run-up to the Iraq War, almost every prominent Democrat was for it. You were fringe if you were against the Iraq War.
All right, we got to talk about a big topic in our world, and that is a man named Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
I'm sure you get it wherever you go, but wherever I go, and I've talked with Bassem on this show about it, I've talked with Crystal Ball about it on this show. Wherever I go, people say to me, I speak to a lot of live events, I do a lot of big audience events, people in the Q&A. It's a running joke. Since January 2025, I've not done a Q&A, live Q&A in anywhere in the world, in London, in LA, in wherever it is, New York, DC, where somebody in the audience doesn't say, when are you going to sit down with Tucker Carlson? What's your view of Tucker Carlson? Isn't Tucker Carlson great? What is your position on the Tucker Carlson rebirth, whatever you want to call it, reimagination of Tucker Carlson, the new anti-Israel, supposedly anti-Republican, anti-Trump Tucker Carlson? Where do you stand on Tucker?
I think he's an agent for Peter Thiel. And I've maintained that position.
Peter Thiel being the billionaire Palantir, quote unquote libertarian right winger.
Yeah. Now Argentinian national, newly minted, and I think that a lot of his opinion, whether it's sincere or not, on Gaza, I can't dispute that. Right? I don't know his heart, but what I can say is
what he said on Gaza has been good.
Yes, and he's been great on that issue for sure. I have no problems openly admitting that. He's a phenomenal communicator, and that's what makes him so dangerous from my perspective, because he has channeled and continues to channel a lot of
AOC. Yeah, guys, I saw that. We'll watch it after. Well, we don't want to steal from. We don't want to steal from their live show. We'll watch it tomorrow.
White nationalist, white nativist, anti-immigrant stances. And
I think
that's something that
unless you have gotten individual permission, I think it's basically extremely bad form, bordering on illegal, to rebroadcast something that's happening live. Like, I don't do that shit unless somebody has told me to do it. I just think that's bordering on theft. I'm sure I could get away with it legally, but I just wouldn't feel right about it unless it's from a big corporation that's doing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to take bread out of Majority Report's mouth.
Obviously oppose and
it's
find
also
to be
why I didn't buy the Zateo subscription and rebroadcast this shit when it was behind a paywall. Because I still respect Mehdi Hasan's right to have this behind the paywall, and then when he publishes it widely, then I'll react to it. But I'm not going to pay for it and watch it when it's behind the paywall. Like, that's literally stealing. So you mean the leftists who stream other people's streams shouldn't do that? I personally would not do that. Or as a general rule, I wouldn't do it. I mean, there's always going to be exceptions, but as a general rule, I think it's a bad idea.
Quite odious.
I mean, again, I'm willing to make exceptions also if I have permission from the people, but in general, I don't like to do that.
But he's been great on Palestine. Now, and he's been pretty decent on Israel overall. Its influence on American foreign policy, on domestic policy. However, I've always maintained an arm's length distance from Tucker.
Distrust.
And because I have this healthy distrust of Tucker, because I think that he will inevitably use the established credibility that he has as this anti-war Republican to launder the reputation of J.D. Vance, potentially.
I agree with you, and that's why I wanted to play this clip to you. I'm sure you've seen it, but let's get your reaction. This is Mishal Hussain of Bloomberg interviewing Tucker Carlson.
Well, I think if J.D. Vance were president, of course we would not be at a war with Iran. It's impossible for me to imagine J.D. Vance standing up and saying we need to have 2 wars to defeat a phantom nuclear program. It's like too insane. You know, I think he has too much self-respect to say something like that. I don't think he believes it. I think J.D. Vance would have led the Republican Party into closer alignment with its own voters. But he was not the president. He's the vice president, and he doesn't have the authority.
Yeah, but he could be the next presidential candidate.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I wish he had been elected president in 2024, but that didn't happen.
That clip is fascinating on multiple levels. I wish he'd been elected president in 2024. But the man who was elected president in 2024 came with Tucker Carlson's endorsement. Tucker campaigned for him, spoke at the RNC, told us
about his anti-war credibility.
Laundered his reputation, some might say, to use a phrase you used a moment ago. So first of all, it's interesting to say, oh, we got this bad guy, wish we'd had this good guy, but he said the exact reverse in 2024. And then this argument that J.D. Vance is anti-war. First of all, I don't believe J.D. Vance believes anything sincerely. He really is a Peter Thiel creation. Just follow the money. Boy. But separately, we know from the reporting from the New York Times and others, it's all been kind of vindicated, that in the Situation Room 10 days before the attack on Iran, February 18th, J.D. Vance is telling Donald Trump, go big, go big. He was an anti-war voice in that situation.
Yeah, but then he also was trying to tell the New York Times that he was, you know, the lone critic in the room as well. So it's clear that he's trying to position himself for the future. There's 2 different wings in the MAGA movement right now. There's going to be far more people that want to carry that torch once, you know, Donald Trump is no longer eligible to run again, which we don't even know if that's gonna,
if he's gonna stick to it.
Yeah, we'll see where we're at by the time we get there. But you got the Marco Rubio camp and you got the J.D. Vance camp, and I will admit I think that Donald Trump is leaning in the Marco Rubio camp a little bit. He's given him the far easier goal of implementing the Donroe Doctrine, so he's overseeing the installation of fascist puppets in Latin American countries, and also military interventions like the one we saw in Venezuela. Apparently he's like basically sexting with Delcy Rodriguez on a daily basis. They're just like, you know, sending each other pics. And
Mike, have you seen the baseless speculation that it's circling around a possible Kamala AOC ticket for 2028? It's been going viral online from politics meme stages, and it seems like a bit of an op. It is because everybody recognizes that we're in a left-wing moment, and Kamala and a lot of people who are Democrats like Kamala Harris and AOC, which is ironically why AOC is going to win, because the people that are posting that are low information Dem voters. And here's what I would say. You probably, if you're surprised that you haven't seen me comment on that, it's because I have nothing nice to say, but it's also not in AOC's interest for me to be mean. What will happen is over the course of the natural campaign, the differences between AOC and Kamala Harris will become very, very clear. And Kamala Harris is not going to prevail. She is the main thing about Kamala Harris is that she will distract and suppress Pete Buttigieg and Gavin Newsom. While AOC can run firmly in the progressive left ideological lane. The idea of like putting AOC next to Kamala is some sort of like, it's Democrat Party fangirling, which I don't participate in. But I think that would be a terrible, terrible ticket. What makes AOC strong is that she's not Kamala Harris. If AOC is on Kamala Harris's ticket, she has destroyed everything that made her unique and therefore weakened herself tremendously. And thus, I don't think that ticket's gonna win. It is ironically a way of trying to like shine up Kamala Harris, even though she doesn't deserve it. Do you think AOC does not fight back enough in the face of criticism? I would say that the one thing, here's what I would say about AOC. AOC should go on alternative media. She should come on my stream. She should go on Hasan's stream. She should go on Breaking Points. She should go on Majority Report. She should take advantage of the alternative left media space, and she should be our champion. That's what I think. And I think if her main problem is people put words in her mouth, right? Like that is her problem, is that haters put words in her mouth that make her seem worse than she is. I say this with full humility. I think I understand the online left a little bit better than most people. And if I were able to give her any advice, it would be in presentation, the content of presentation, and how to posture yourself as left online. It's a very important thing that you need to do in order to win. And I think that she should embrace the position as leader of the left in America and take the baton fully from Bernie Sanders.
Stuff on WhatsApp, strange experience overall. So he's got the cushy prime job as the Secretary of State, whereas J.D. Vance is on, janitorial duty right now, in a manner not dissimilar to what Biden did with Kamala Harris, like putting him on the Iran deal.
Clean up on aisle 7.
Yeah, it's the worst deal to potentially be a part of, because Donald Trump is unbelievably compromised by Israel, or unbelievably loyal to Israel's interests. And they don't want any kind of deal there. They don't want any kind of cessation of hostility. And no one around the world actually wants to continue this war because it's destabilizing the energy markets. So now J.D. Vance is responsible for all of that. So he's going on Joe Rogan and talking about talking about Israel, talking about Epstein.
Positioning.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying to position himself as like in opposition to this stuff.
Yeah, a couple of things. One is the Rubio-Vance debate that's kind of roiling this town, D.C. Oh, Rubio-Vance. I actually think it might not be either of them in 28. The politics is so chaotic.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Tucker Carlson.
2 years out. It could be Tucker Carlson. It's interesting that he says he wants J.D. Vance. A lot of people want Carlson to run. It could be. We don't know, right? Politics is so insane right now. 2 years is a long time. The Republican Party the base is all over the place. Anyone could emerge. Rubio, it could be, they don't want anyone associated with Trump. Trump is such a damaged brand.
Yeah,
Who knows?
2 years ago, you had 34 Democrats vote against funding Israel.
Yeah,
and
today,
this past week is 104.
So things change fast in our political climate. But even on the Vance, Vance is a super online guy, right? If you saw the reporting of how Susie Wiles wanted him to get off Twitter, he was spending too much time online attacking people like me. He spends a lot of time online. He doesn't really believe anything. So he can see the currents. This guy was a never Trumper when it was fashionable to be a never Trumper. He became MAGA when it was fashionable to be MAGA. And now on the Joe Rogan podcast, he's talking about Israel having too much power and Israelis not liking the deal. And it's kind of like, he's playing to the Fuentes Groyper element of the wing. We know that's what he's doing. Do you think it'll work though?
No. And I don't think it'll
too transparent.
Well, I think he's too libbed up. Like, I think aesthetics do matter, and I feel like he's the liberal Groyper. Like he's just this unbelievable creation that speaks in the language that liberals understand. He was supposed to be the working class whisperer when he wrote the Hillbilly Elegy, and MSNBC loved him back then when he was calling Trump Hitler.
I had him on my Al Jazeera show in 2016.
You did?
Yeah, J.D. Vance. He looked different.
Of course he did. Because you were doing liberal bullshit. Your MSNBC sucks. Of course, Mehdi Hasan. Of course you had him on. Because the Hillbilly Elegy was basically rich liberals saying the poors of the Rust Belt deserve it. They're scum. It was classist sniggering is the word for it. Like, that is exactly what it was. In case you have never heard this word. That's what it was. Like, that's the entire point, is they got him to be the white guy from Ohio saying that poor whites from Ohio deserve to die of opioid overdose because they're lazy scum. And like, that's exactly what was going on.
He was clean shaven, carried a few more pounds.
Yeah.
And he said stuff like, Trump is taking people in a dark direction. My Muslim friends are worried. That was the J.D. Vance I spoke to in 2016.
And his trans friends too.
Yes.
And now he's liberal Groyper, but it's funny because his wife is Indian, like his kids are Indian.
I've read books before, and I have a vocabulary that goes beyond 5,000 words, and I'm also not a fucking brain-melted Zoomer. I knew as soon as I used the correct word that I had to define it, which is why I brought it up on screen, because I realized that everyone's 5 years old.
And he has to maintain this weird posture where he has to.
He threw his wife under the bus at a TP USA event.
Yeah, when he says she's going to hell.
That's the point. You deal with others and it's not worth it. Yeah, no, so true. So true, guys. I have to use a word that I can't. I need to make sure that I do this kind of like woke speak, where you can't have a vocabulary because the word kind of looks like another word.
He literally implied his wife is going to hell.
And then she got him back, though. I love their weird dynamic. She got him back. You see the joint interview where they're asked about being Hindu. And she goes, I'm very comfortable in my faith. I grew up in a very stable family, so I'm very comfortable in my faith.
Oh,
it was
I
like a
didn't see
dig
that.
to her husband. There was a version of that.
Usha, my queen.
No, let's not do the my queen thing. She's awful. She was just interviewing Trump and fawning all over Trump. She sat at the RNC with the mass deportations. As former friends of hers say, this is a very cynical move by her.
Oh, for sure.
She used to be a liberal Democrat.
They're Yale graduates.
They want power.
These guys.
Sometimes we do this with, like, do you remember there was a thing about Melania blink twice in first term? Like, Melania is a racist who endorsed birtherism.
I'm joking when I say Usha, my queen.
There are some people watching who might think Usha is like leading at internal resistance.
I'm not being sincere about that.
On the sincerity point, just before we move on, Tucker on Michelle Hussein's show talking about Vance there, and then JD Vance on Rogan. Like, these people are all positioning. I think it's a good thing, because I was actually worried for a while that, like, and me and Shadi Hamid of the Washington Post got in trouble simply for pointing out that we have a lot of Muslim friends who love Tucker and who would vote for Tucker if he ran. And people were shooting the messages like, how could he be pro-Tucker? I'm not pro-Tucker. I'm just telling you what people are saying, right? And I think the more he kind of goes on about JD Vance, normies may open their eyes and say, actually, Tucker Carlson is not some great anti-war hero. He's clearly doing what you said, which is laundering JD Vance's reputation for 2028.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what's going on.
I've never realized how much production value the cat adds to the stream. So true. So true.
These guys are, fairly cynical. They're cold. They're amoral or immoral. They're operators, and people need to understand that these aren't like regular people that are responding to stimuli in the same way that like a normie who's uninitiated would, right? When they see like the horrible images coming out of Gaza and they go, "This is unbelievable. We need to put a stop to it." I mean, it can still be impactful. Genocide is the crime of all crimes for good reason. And that's why I always say, like, I don't doubt the sincerity of people's opinions when they speak on this issue.
What is the unban rules here? I don't unban you. Don't get banned. That's the ban rules. Don't get banned. That's really the ban rules. Like, it's pretty hard to get unbanned. Sometimes I will just feel like I want to unban people randomly, but it can be literally years in between. Not lefty of you. Who told you that?
But I do place a lot of emphasis.
It's pretty hard to get banned. Like, to get banned, you have to, like, usually what'll get you banned is just kind of evil personal attacks, quadrupling and dumbing down in kind of like a really stupid way where you can't articulate your point, but you're acting in a really like performative and kind of try to get attention for your stupidity. And then the other is like just like, stuff like that, being annoying. Like, if you make a stupid point but then I correct you and then you like try to double or triple down, that's the way to ban town. Saying Mike is never right. I mean, like, that's just funny. That's not even a good troll.
What they do with their newfound change of attitude.
There are a lot of grifters out there. Talking of sincerity and talking of rehabilitation and laundering, what is up with Joe Rogan? There was a whole debate. Is Hasan Piker the new Joe Rogan of the left? I'm like, do we want a Joe Rogan of the left? I mean, what is the deal with him just having Republicans and MAGA folks and billionaires on his show? They go straight there to kind of rehabilitate themselves.
Epstein class. Anytime there's a billionaire that gets hit with a Dominican ray and they're wearing like a black fitted tee, they start doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu, they change up their hair a little bit, they go on Joe Rogan and they're like, I'm just like you, dude.
But what's his goal, do you think?
It's just money, I think.
Has he ever invited you on?
No, he'll never invite me on.
Yeah, no.
I know for a fact that he is not fond of people who've called him out in the past.
Yeah.
Like, he maintains a tight ship over there. And he has a massive platform. So, I understand that he doesn't want to open that platform and the influence that he wields over tens of millions of people.
It's very Bill Maher-esque.
Yeah, you're like Bill Maher will never have me on either.
Same with me.
Yeah, he'll
That's
talk
fine.
about me.
I mean, I wouldn't want to go on. It's funny you mentioned Bill Maher because the Democrats are like, we shouldn't go on Hasan Piker, but they all go on Bill Maher.
I want to go on Bill Maher.
Bro, you just did the thing. He went on the mic from PH. You just did the thing. You just did that to me. What the fuck? It's so funny how clout hungry these people are. It's so funny how clout hungry they are.
But the Democrats, I'm talking about the hypocrisy of Democrats. Is don't go on Hasan Piker's show, but we'll go on Bill Maher's show.
OG 9/11 guy.
OG 9/11 guy said they were brave. The 9/11 hijackers lost his show
a week after 9/11.
Yeah, even you didn't do that.
Yeah, I was 10.
Yeah. Were you really?
Yeah.
But Bill Maher said horrifically anti-black things. He said the N-word on his show. He said he's very misogynistic, anti-Muslim. But they all go on that show. They all go on that show. The double standard is brazen. But yeah, the Bill Maher, Joe Rogans, they do this free speech champion stuff. But yeah, they don't have people who come on and disagree with them or call them out. It's a very good point. You talked about J.D. Vance, Rubio 2028. We're almost out of time, but I got to ask, Democrats 2028, got a little game for you. Try and work out where you stand on things. I know you talked about this before. Let's just play a little game. If you had to pick between two for 2028, a Democrat, who would you pick between Gavin Newsom and Rahm Emanuel?
Oh, God. Oh, shoot me. Oh, I have no idea.
You have to pick one. That's the game.
You know what's crazy? Rahm Emanuel is better on foreign policy than Gavin Newsom.
He's been criticizing Israel recently. You buy that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't buy it.
But at least he's doing it.
His dad was in Irgun, I think, which is wild.
All right, so Rahm Emanuel, Gavin Newsom is Rahm.
I don't know, but because Gavin is an empty suit, so are we capable of pushing?
Here's the thing. If the Democratic nomination came down to Gavin Newsom or Rahm Emanuel, I would say take up arms and engage in People's War from the Appalachian Mountains. Like, let's be honest here. Like, these guys are so bad. I mean, that's obviously a joke, but like, these guys are so bad. We'd run third party. I guess the Democrats did learn their lesson about losing in 2024. Let's lose in 2028. That's the Gavin Newsom difference.
But he's also
I'm not doing the game.
suit.
You are.
Yeah, I know. This is the
Rahm Emanuel or Gavin Newsom?
Oh, I don't know. Gavin Newsom, probably?
Gavin Newsom or Pete Buttigieg?
Pete Buttigieg. This game sucks.
Pete Buttigieg or
third party.
Kamala Harris.
Third party.
Ooh.
Third party.
I don't
know. Like my answer is third party. I would just say third party. It's impossible to imagine me voting for them.
Now thinking like who's more malleable, who's more susceptible.
Whatever reasoning you have, I'm just asking you to give it
to influence. I don't know. I mean, Kamala Harris, I guess. She has more name recognition.
Kamala Harris or John Ossoff?
Oh, John Ossoff.
John Ossoff or J.B. Pritzker?
J.B. Pritzker.
Why?
I think J.B. Pritzker, despite being a billionaire, is, again, more responsive, whereas John Ossoff has a more interesting background and is, like, I think, secretly closer to, my worldview than J.B. Pritzker is even.
You can push Pritzker more.
But I think Pritzker has this ability to read the room, the left side of the room, whereas John Ossoff is always reading the right side of the room, if you know what I mean.
I do.
Like one is posturing to the left, the other is posturing to the right more than they should be.
You prefer the posturing of the billionaire to the left. J.B. Pritzker or Chris Van Hollen?
Chris Van Hollen.
Chris Van Hollen or Ro Khanna?
Ro Khanna.
Ro Khanna or AOC?
AOC. It's not even a question. AOC is, out of all of the people that you mentioned, like AOC is the only one that I would like.
And you think she could win general election?
Yeah,
misogynistic, racist.
Of course.
It's not even a question. AOC is, out of all of the people that you mentioned, like AOC is the only one that I would like.
And you think she could win general election?
Yeah,
misogynistic, racist country.
Yes,
I do.
People
are
yes,
a lot of misogynists and racists in this country.
100%. Absolutely. America was built on the foundations of white supremacy and elected a black man whose middle name was Hussein.
But you know that the position of Barack Obama, he wasn't just the first black president, he was the last black president. The argument is that
the year of our Lord is 2026. It is not 2002. It is the year of our Lord 2026, not 2002. The year of our Lord 2026, not the year of our Lord 2002. He almost transported me back to 2002. And what we would say to each other, are you okay? Barack Obama remains popular. People are not racist. Like, okay, let me say this. There is, without a doubt, 35% of America who are dyed-in-the-wool reactionary fascists. They would never vote for a woman. They would never vote for a black man. They're racist. They're sexist. They're misogynistic. They're fucking anti-Catholic. All right? Let's leave those people aside. 65% of normal people are perfectly willing to vote for AOC. Just stop it. Which, again, you don't need 65% to win. She could, not only could she run, she could win. So it's just nonsense. I don't know. I actually hate that people say this shit because it shows you don't understand. You don't understand the nature of American politics. It's like when people say white and they don't understand that there's different flavors of vanilla in America. Just like when people say black, when they try to say South Carolina black voters represent black people in America. That's fucking racist. That is fucking racist. No, they do not. South Carolina has a unique political situation. Population of voters in South Carolina is the most conservative population of whatever demographic in America. That's why they love it, because they're corporate goons.
Him coming in, that's a view for a lot of people.
I don't think that's the case.
Good. I don't think it's the case, but I think that is an argument that America has since had two women. One of them was a black woman, and they got absolutely...
I don't think Kamala Harris lost because, like, I think her being a black woman, of course, is a major factor in her defeat, but I don't think that's the only factor. These are hurdles.
Yes.
But these are hurdles that one can clear. You just have to outwork your opposition. You have to, and Zoran showed this in New York in a much smaller race, obviously, and New York is not the rest of the country, but the point I'm making is it just makes things more difficult. But as long as you have moral conviction, as long as you can excite the base, as long as you can actually create a unique coalition and activate low propensity voters, which I think AOC has the capacity to do.
I think she would be a fantastic left candidate, even better than Bernie in many ways. My issue is, as you said at the start, we talked about left infighting. She has come under a lot of attack, not from the right recently, but from parts of the left.
Like, I have an answer to this. The general population has such a microscopic worldview, they cannot fathom life outside their own town community, so they base everything like racism and popularity on their own small world. You're going to make me start talking like a megalomaniac, egomaniac, you know. Let's just say that I am familiar with the tools and data. Amy Goodman's peace sign, thanks for the 25 gifted subs. I am not trying to be a megalomaniac. I'm not trying to be an egomaniac. I just feel like I have studied politics at a deep level and looked at data that a lot of people are not aware of. And there's a big difference. There's a big difference between different types. There's types of white people, and they exist at different concentrations around the country. The average white person from Glendale compared to the average white person from Mississippi are going to be very different, even though they're both white. And that should not be complicated or controversial to understand. And it's not to say that white people from Glendale don't have a lot of problematic beliefs. They absolutely do. But they would vote for AOC. Of course they would. And voting and even joining a political grouping doesn't mean you're perfect. In fact, people could oftentimes join political groupings that are better than themselves. Like if you broke it down to the individual, that individual person might suck more than whatever political grouping they're a part of. So like this is a very important point. And when people are trying to create politics that simplify down to this kind of racial identity only, that is anti-left. They're attempting to create a communalist politics that is in opposition to a multiracial, working class, proletarian, whatever you want to call it, politic that goes against the capitalist class and tries to create working class solidarity. They're directly fighting against that. They want to convince you that a poor white person in Appalachia has different political interests than a black person from Detroit. And I'm going to tell you, I think they have more in common materially than a black billionaire, and a black person from Detroit. You know what I mean? I think a black billionaire has more in common with white billionaires than they do with a black billionaire or a black working class person in Detroit. That should not be controversial. Now, it's not to say that there isn't black discrimination. It doesn't mean that there's not racism in the country, of course. Even a black billionaire will suffer from that race-based oppression. Of course they do. Of course they're going to be judged and insulted and treated based off of their race. Of course, you're allowed to have those kind of complex thoughts. You could have things don't just distill down to a singular idea. And anybody telling you that they do is oversimplifying or to manipulate. Jason Paula's campaign ready for Massachusetts 4th was looking to reach out to you. Do you have a business email? Yeah. Central Committee Twitch at Gmail, all one word.
Left.
Yeah. I mean, I criticize her too.
I'm not talking about criticize. You can criticize her.
Yeah.
You can say AOC went to the DNC and said they're working tirelessly for a ceasefire. I would criticize that. I criticized at the time. I had Ilhan Omar on the next day, and even Ilhan implicitly criticized her. That's different to what's been happening in recent months, which is like AOC is CIA. She's a sellout. Tucker Carlson and Marjorie Taylor Greene are more principled than AOC. You've seen this shit online.
But
I've called it out.
Mehdi, this is internet.
Yeah,
jargon. This is internet mumbo jumbo. Like,
I mean, these are prominent people on the internet.
It doesn't matter. It's just internet.
You don't
shit.
think it has a real world impact? My worry is,
No.
my worry is a problem for lefties always is that lefties get attacked by the right and they get attacked by the left. Right wingers only get attacked by the left. Their side is loyal to the end of the day. They might criticize, but when push comes to shove, they fall in line.
Yeah.
And this is why
the left or Democrats fall in love. Republicans fall in line, which is why you need someone charismatic and lovable to represent our side. That's why Zoran is breaking out, because people are falling in love with him. We break out when people fall in love with our candidate. Whenever the left is trying to like enforce people to like someone against their will, they fail. Works on the right.
One of the reasons why the time we
you
lose.
know who else says that? Democrats, establishment Democrats. They always, that's their biggest gripe. They always say like, oh, our candidates are.
But they're as guilty as anyone else.
Yeah, I know.
If ABDUL is the candidate in the Senate in Maine, in Michigan, if he wins, established Democrats aren't going to come out enthusiastically campaigning for him. They're going to undermine him as well.
Yeah, no,
so
for
whether
sure.
it's liberals or left, we could use whatever phrase we want. The non-Republican side is often tearing itself apart.
100%.
And with AOC, I've just found it bizarre, people claiming because she did one bad line at the DNC in 2024, they're ignoring her.
It was a pretty big bad line.
But they're ignoring multiple votes of hers that were pro-Palestine. You know, the idea that Tucker Carlson or Marjorie Taylor Greene is better on Gaza than AOC is insane to me.
No, I don't disagree with that at all. I know. I agree with you on that.
Why do you think there are some people on our side who are so intent on pumping up Tucker and Marjorie and Candace at the expense of actual left-wing figures like Delia Ramirez or AOC?
I'll be a little critical of AOC on this. I think it's a little bit AOC's fault.
Go on.
I like her a lot. However, I think she doesn't harness the populist rage in the way that she communicates. I think part of the reason why a lot of liberals like her, and she has this broad, coalitional support amongst the liberals in a way that Bernie never did.
Which is a good thing for her prospects.
Which is a good thing for her prospects in the primary, but not necessarily good overall. It could be an issue overall, is because she doesn't come out and she doesn't rip into people, right? She does every now and then, but she's always taking bold steps in the legislative side. She'll go on the debate floor, or she'll go on the floor of Congress and openly say Israel is, starving people. It's a famine. This is a genocide. Far before any of her other colleagues, with the exception of, Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib and whatnot. But she'll do that, but then she'll do a lot of, she'll go on an apology tour, basically. So it's always like 2 steps forward and then 3 steps back, where she'll go and do seminars with liberal Zionist groups to talk about the dangers of anti-Semitism. Now, this is something that you and I both care about. Anti-Semitism is a significant problem. However, the groups that are doing that to signal that that you are still beholden to whichever narrative they're going to
She's in a
concoct.
difficult position, clearly.
Yes, and trust me, I know. I get yelled at by the left a lot as well, and also by the right, and also by liberals. So I understand that. However, having said that, I think I have unique insight into this, and you do too as well, because we've been doing this for a long time, and you have to be shameless a little bit. You have to be bold, you have to be brave, and you have to be a little shameless.
Bold, brave, shameless. We should put that on a mug.
Yeah, no, but I mean it, because
legitimately, I feel like people don't understand. We're in this moment where I need you guys to understand it's never going to be a better chance than right now. I called the vibe shift a year ago, and it's only shifted harder. I just saw a new poll showing that Donald Trump's disapproval rating has crossed over 61%. We are heading towards a landslide, the likes of which you've never seen. We need to get our people ready to run for 2028. We need AOC endorsed. We need DSA candidates in every single major city. We need to be prepared. And it's only going to get worse from here. It's not like Donald Trump is suddenly going to get a clue. The economy just grew. We just had a horrible inflation report. 3.1% inflation, 1.5% growth, which means the economy shrank. Like, things are bad and getting worse, and we need to be ready. And I know there's a lot of people out there that are hurt. Oh man, 2018, 2020 didn't go our way. Those were relatively decent market conditions. The economy wasn't that bad. The American people hadn't lost trust in the mainstream institutions at quite the same level. We will never, ever, if we don't seize this opportunity now, we're going to regret it for the rest of our lives. And I say this to you because I want you to feel the moment.
You're not going to be able to get across your moral convictions if you come across as like even a little worried or even a little defensive. Then people respond to that with, oh, maybe she doesn't believe this either. Some people think it's insincere. Some people think it's wrong. It's the wrong position, and you know it. You're recognizing that your position is wrong. You know, like, you have to be convincing.
My not critique per se, but advice, unsolicited, is in this age where content is everything, you also need to be out there everywhere. What Ro Khanna has mastered is the art of going everywhere, anywhere. He went on my show last week. He went on Drop Site, took a rhetorical beating from Jeremy Scahill, our good friend. But, you know, Ro Khanna doesn't stop going on Fox, where he argues with people. I think AOC has been brilliant on social media. I've never seen a politician like her on social in the way that she dominates social media, but go out and do more interviews. Do you think 2028 is going to be another podcast election like 2024 was?
Oh, for sure. It's going to be more
So
than...
you need to have a candidate who can communicate.
Yes, and AOC has that capacity, but the way she carries herself, I think, is a little bit too, like, optics driven, too liberal and too optics driven. I think Zoran has done a pretty good job of
this is where I agree. This is where I agree with Hasan, and like, I think AOC is a little too risk averse, and I understand why. Right? I understand why. She is, like, obviously a front runner, and she, you know, she's doesn't want to fuck everything up. Like, I get it, but she's just a tiny bit too disconnected from the left, like the left-wing spaces, like mine. Like, honestly, if AOC came on my stream, I would know she's gonna win. And it's not it's not about me. It's about fearlessness. It's about the attitude. When someone comes on the Mike from PA stream, they've got attitude. Like, they're ready to fight. Because coming on my stream means you're taking on the establishment, because that's what I do. I'm not nice to the Democratic establishment. I'm not nice to Zionists. I'm not fucking around with fake progressives. She won't go on Hasan. She was just on Hasan's stream last year. What are you talking about? She went on with him when they were doing the oligarchy tour. She was on when fucking Zoran's victory party. You guys need to calm the fuck down. Like, what are you saying? In fact, can one of you editors, can you guys get the clip of AOC hugging Hasan Piker? She was on the Majority Report an hour ago. She's getting better. Also, again, it's chronological time, right? It's 2026. It is July 2026. She hasn't launched for president yet. She's a backbench congresswoman. You know, like, what do you guys want? She's running around the country and endorsing people and campaigning she just did a rally for ABDUL. You know, like, calm down. She's doing a lot. I wish she would do more. That's only because I understand how important she is. And when she doesn't take up space, people fill in the blanks and they use it to attack her.
Merging those two worlds, where he speaks the language of liberalism,
but then
in
goes
ways
on
that
Andrew Schultz and
but in ways that annoy me sometimes too. Oh my God, I just listened to his new New York Times conversation where they asked, or the New York Times asked him, like, if you had unlimited money, what would you do? And he's like, exactly the same policies I'm implementing. I'm like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, really? You wouldn't, if you had unlimited money. If money was no object, you would do fast and free buses. I was about to end
the show, but are we really going to end the show on you saying, shut the fuck up, Zoran, I'm done?
I mean, come on.
What a twist.
I was like,
what a twist there.
Like, turn it off.
Hey, Mike, I know you don't practice law, but can you think of any reasonable route to legally prosecute members of the House who voted to merge with the U.S. and Israeli military? I mean, I think the bigger thing is getting them out of office, right? Get them out of office.
That his agenda, his working class first agenda works. All right, here we go. Yeah. What's up? How are you? Good. How are you? Excuse me.
I don't know. I need to come up with a better message, a better post. But maybe just give this a sneaky little repost. The audio in this video on this night was so bad, it actually drove me insane. I'm not an audio pervert, but the audio in that stream was so fucking bad, it was like legendarily bad.
He'll be so
Sometimes.
disappointed in both of us.
Yeah,
although you
just-
do copy his suit style.
I do. Well, not this.
Not today.
No,
but in general.
No,
Today you're
I
copying
look. I
Chairman
love the
Mao.
guy. I have my disagreements with him from time to time.
You're saying unleash
as
a bit
well.
more. What was it? Bold, brave.
I mean, this is what I've told him as
I
well.
want to know the
Tell him to
mug
be
style. What was
bold, brave, and unapologetic. Let's not say shameless.
Okay.
Bold, brave, and unapologetic. But that's what it is, because when Tucker speaks on this issue, he speaks with conviction because he has a lot of experience
All right,
being a shameless person.
We're making a mug. I want to talk to the merch team. We're making a mug of that Hasan Piker quote on We're Not Kidding. Bold, brave, unapologetic.
Yeah.
And then tiny little asterisk thing, really shameless.
Yeah.
Hasan, it's your birthday soon. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to be 35.
You can run for president.
Yeah. It's not going to
We didn't
happen.
put you in the 2028
Let's
mix.
not.
There's a faction of people that want to see Hasan Piker versus Tucker Carlson. There is a
get
faction of people that want to see
any ideas.
Piker versus Carlson.
I think one of the things that annoys me the most is the people that are DSA that still want to do electoral politics but hate AOC. Those people are the people that frustrate me the most. Those are the people that frustrate me the most because it's so absurd. I have my criticism of AOC. She made me mad at time to time, but what are you talking about? Guys, like, and the reason why it makes me mad is because it's incompetent. And there's really no nice way to put it. If you think like that, you're incompetent. And and the other thing is like, the reason why it's incompetent is there are 435 House seats. There are 100 Senate seats. There are 50 governor's mansions. And that's before we get into state legislative or local elections and mayoral seats and things like that. There are literally thousands and thousands of electoral opportunities out there, and they get paid. Many of them come with like 5 to 10 or even more jobs that you can hand out. Why the fuck don't you guys want money? Why don't you want to run for office? Why don't you want to like work in politics full time and get paid to do it? Are you okay? Like what? Why are socialists allergic to understanding that winning power means permanently governing? It means helping people. It means changing the world. Like what the fuck's going on here? How much do PA state reps make? There are 202 Pennsylvania state reps. They also have staff. There are 100 or 50 PA state senators. What are you guys doing? Run for office, dummy.
And in 20, they believe that is what America, to use your phrase, deserves.
Yeah, well, here's the thing.
Why are they overpaid? You want people writing the laws for 15 million people to be broke? Are you stupid? What the hell are you talking about? It's only 100,000. I mean, yes, that's a good salary. It's an adult salary. Yes, it's better than the average. But I'd rather them make $100,000 than make 30,000 and then take bribes under the fucking table all the time. That's crazy. I want them to actually spend time learning about shit before they write a law about it. That's crazy. I know that it's like the populist position to like think politicians should be like tortured, but all that ends up happening is rich fucks with trust funds are the only people who run. Having a solid salary for the politicians is how you get working class people to run. I brought up Pennsylvania because that's what I know. The highest paid, New York 142, California 132, Pennsylvania 110, Illinois 93, and Alaska 84. Honestly, it's embarrassing when they're not full-time. I think your state not having a full-time legislature is embarrassing. I'll be completely honest with you. I think it's a sign of a failed state. I think it's legitimately a sign of a failed state. 0 per year. This is a multi-billion-dollar budget. Like, come on. That's how you get so corrupt. Like, what the fuck? Exactly. Too little salary puts legislative positions out of reach for the working class. Yeah, it's crazy. Singapore's ministers earn an exorbitant salary, but 60% of us live paycheck to paycheck. Well, yeah, of course. You're not gonna, it doesn't solve anything just to pay legislators money. But I'm saying that as far as like intelligent design of your government, it should be a professional job.
Ask me as soon as I get out of this podcast if you keep talking about this.
Like lawyers make hundreds of thousands of dollars interpreting the laws those people write. That's what a lawyer does. A lawyer is literally helping to interpret and argue for laws, and they get paid millions upon millions of dollars for that. It's insane to have the legislators be broke. That's obviously, what does that mean? It means rich people will bribe them, and they will become lobbyists, and they will look for ways of like, it just, here's what I believe. I think every politician should be paid well, but corruption should be the death penalty. That's what I believe. I believe that you should have a good life, you should be paid well, but if you take bribes and you're corrupt, you should die. This is why they take bribes. Gen Z problems. Maxwell Frost is struggling to rent an apartment. I mean, they make $174,000. And I think they get other allotments. I feel like you should be able to like, I wonder if you could, I don't want to get it. Yeah, it's pretty insane. I think they should, you know what I think they should make? I think they should make congressional apartments, personally. I think they should build some congressional apartments. It should just be a benefit. And then they could like put them behind the fucking walls and guard them. Congressional dorms, unironically. Maybe that's a bad idea. I don't know. I don't know. Some of them sleep in their office and it's really gross and unhygienic.
I am
like,
not running for president.
Like, shit, he's born in America, he's 35, he can run for president. Now we got to go after Hasan Piker.
Yeah.
All right, well, we will have to leave it there. That is our show. Make sure you go to ZIONIST.com, become a subscriber, support independent journalism. You can download this podcast earlier than anyone else if you're a paid subscriber. Watch it without paywalls. Support the show, support independent media, support Hasan Piker's Twitch streams. I am Mehdi Hasan.
I'm Hasan Piker.
And we were not kidding. We're Not Kidding is a Zateo production. I'm your host, Mehdi Hasan, and today's co-host was Hasan Piker. Our executive producer is Kieran Alvey. Our senior producer and editor is Frank Capello. Our music was composed by Andy Clausen. Our design is by Alicia Tatone. Our mix engineer is Valentino Rivera, and the title card animation is by Ahsan Mezghali. Special thanks to Ali.
The homes at Capitol Hill are also gross bachelor pads. 5 grown men only eating cereal and never cleaning. Ugh. Reminder to pump the new YouTube video. Oh, we have a new YouTube? Chat, we have a brand new YouTube video. Hasan defends Mike from Mehdi Hasan. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Go check it out. Mike, why didn't Mehdi Hasan come after you? I'm sorry, I've been out of the loop. I've been hanging out and loving my girlfriend recently. You know, good on you. This is what liberals are afraid of. Dottie holds the highest favorability ranking. This pollster sucks. This pollster is actually bad. Like, I don't think they get a large chunk of people that are like, don't know, never heard of. It's always the way it goes. I don't think they're very good. Which, like, I get that's probably fair in a certain sense, but it's also not, it's apples to oranges compared to the way other people do polling. Now, I want you guys to understand something that I need you all to know. That if you are in Nebraska, if you're in Montana, if you're in Texas, I think you guys might win your Senate race. I think this year is going to be the biggest landslide. What is she doing? Why are they trying to climb the walls? Why are they trying to climb the walls? What the hell is going? He just fell. Why are they trying to climb the walls? Did he hurt himself? All right, hold on. I have to check on this idiot. What the fuck is he doing? That's your fault for having walls to climb. Yeah. So, all right. Did I talk about Contra already? No. What? I have not. Other than to say they're just a little bit. I'll be right back.
Stephen Miller, or as I like to call him, Micro Penis Goebbels, he crashed out at Democratic Socialists and AOC and Ilhan Omar. And this man clearly has zero ability to analyze himself, okay? Because what he delivers here is just incredibly ironic. Listen to this.
These are people
dressing his mouth. You don't have that suit at home?
I don't. Very popular in the Democratic Party. But that just underscores, Sean, the people you mentioned, the names you mentioned, AOC, Bernie, the Squad, Omar, these are people who even 10 or 15 years ago would have been relegated to the outer extreme fringes of the Democrat Party. They're now the center of the party. They're the heart of the party. They're the soul of the party. So the Democrats have become a party of freaks, weirdos, losers, and crazies. But you can't laugh it off because it's deadly serious. Wow. When you give these people power, everything you know and love in this world falls apart. You have chaos, corruption, decay, violence, poverty.
That's how it ends.
Freaks, weirdos, losers, and crazies, he says. Homie, you're Stephen Miller. Your whole aesthetic is literally jacked from Goebbels, the Nazi twerp. Okay? You don't even really hide the fact. Trump himself said, you know, Stephen Miller, you can't tell people what he really thinks, because if he did, people would be like, oh, that's a little extreme. He's a little extreme. Yes, this is the guy who came up with the idea to disband the part of the government that goes after human trafficking and drug cartels and actual violent criminals. And he told immigration officials, no, go raid the fucking Lowe's parking lot. Go raid the Home Depots. Go storm into the salons. This is the guy who did that. And he's saying others are extremists. You have got to be kidding me. He had the nerve to say, if these DSA people take over, the corruption is going to run rampant. Nobody has ever seen a crime spree like we've seen. Nobody's ever seen the immense level of corruption like we've seen right now being done by your fat pedophile warmonger terrorist con man boss. You have got to be kidding me. What a sick joke. What a sick joke. He said, back in the day, they would have been considered the fringe. Well, tell me exactly what's fringe about them. What's fringe? He's right that now they're the mainstream, and now they're the heart and soul of the party. That's right, but they always should have been that. And by the way, the Democratic voters on the issues have always agreed with Democratic socialists, whether or not they realized it. What exactly is fringe or extreme about universal health care, which every other developed country has one version or another of, and we don't? What's extreme about that?
My new emote DSA shake has been uploaded. And it has sticks with jorts, just so nobody thinks he's naked and it's sexual. He has jorts on now. He's still hurt? Is he lying there? Where is he? Oh no, he's doing crimes. He's doing more crimes.
What's extreme about making the minimum wage a living wage? What's extreme about raising taxes on the wealthy, which like 80% of the country wants to do, including many Republicans? What's extreme about that? You tell me what's extreme about that. There's absolutely nothing. The fact of the matter is, ending the wars, ending the endless support for Israel, raising taxes on the rich, giving people child care and education and health care, all that stuff is incredibly popular. And so all they have to try to get you to turn on AOC and Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib and Democratic Socialists, all they have is fucking smears and straw mans and just endless fucking twisting of their words, trying to pretend like they're something that they're not. They have nothing. They have nothing. And for the man who, I mean, this guy looks like a vampire, okay? He looks like a twerp vampire. He looks like the modern day iteration of Goebbels. He's a guy who spray painted his head with like seemingly actual spray paint when he was trying to cover up the fact that he's bald. And for him to call anybody else a loser, a freak, a weirdo, a crazy, like, you have got to be kidding me. Zero self-awareness. The lack of self-awareness is absolutely positively off the charts. I've never seen anybody with such an insane lack of self-awareness. It's almost like they're rubbing it in your face that we are the extremists, we are the crazy people, but we're just going to see how long we can get away with this where we try to call the others extremists and crazy. What's more extreme, universal health care or shoving immigrants in concentration camps? I'll wait. What's more extreme, protecting all of the Epstein elite pedophiles or wanting to raise the minimum wage? I'll wait. You tell me what's extreme. What's more extreme? Donald Trump making billions of dollars off the White House or fighting for universal child care? I'll wait. You tell me what's more extreme. In every single way, this man is completely and utterly full of shit. He's a liar. He's deranged. He's disgusting. And make no mistake about it, he is the architect of...
Did he play the video where he talked about torturing people? Does anyone have that video of him talking about torturing people and how torturing affirms the human condition or any of that shit? Are you guys aware of this Stephen Miller thing?
To the issue of the Iraqi civilians, I think that as many of them should survive as possible, because the goal of any military conflict is to kill as few people as possible. But as for Saddam Hussein and his henchmen, I think the ideal solution would be to cut off their fingers. I don't think it's necessary to kill them entirely. We're not a barbaric people. We respect life. Therefore, torture is the way to go. Because tortured people can live. Torture is a celebration of life and human dignity. We need to remember that as we enter these very dark and dangerous times in the next century. And I only hope that many of my peers and people who will be leading this country will appreciate the value and respect that torture shows towards other cultures. To the issue of the Iraqi civilians.
Yeah, he's always been a very evil little worm.
Everything.
You know it's old because he had hair. But you get my point. He's a fucking evil little worm.
Trump has done when it comes to ICE. He's the architect of it. And that means it is directly on his hands that now our government is engaged in abductions and mass kidnappings and that they've destroyed due process. We no longer have due process in this country. He is directly responsible for the fact that over 4,000 people are missing because of ICE. that I believe 53 or 54 people have died in ICE custody. He's responsible for the fact that ICE is accused of doing slavery at their detention camps, that there are literal criminals joining ICE. People were astonished when they learned about the most recent ICE killer and his long track record of being mentally deranged, assaulting his wife. Like, the last person in the country you would ever give a gun and a badge to, and Stephen Miller did it with a smile on his face. Why? Because he wants criminals to do Trump's dirty bidding. That's why. And he has the nerve to call Democrats extremists. He has the nerve to call AOC an extremist. Are you fucking kidding me? You've got to be kidding me. This guy's group of paramilitary thugs assaulted an 84-year-old married couple, but Democrats are the extremists? This guy had his ICE thugs shoot a priest in the face with pepper balls, knowing he was not a threat to anybody, but it's the Democrats, it's Ilhan Omar that's the problem. You gladly support the genocide in Gaza, but where the problem, where the issue, DSA? You got an issue with Hasan Piker when all he's trying to do is get people fucking healthcare and end the wars? God, man, it's just, they literally like tear gas babies and ran over journalists with cars and zip tied kids and put them in the back of U-Haul vans. Okay. And again, they had the nerve to come after us and act like we're the problem. You're the motherfucking problem, bro. You're the problem. You've always been the problem. And he knows that. He knows that deep down. So it's amazing to me that they still use this guy as a spokesperson. It's amazing to me. And by the way, he is the reason why ICE went right back at it, and now they got to arrest 2,000 people a day, is all because Stephen Miller is steering the car, bro. He's in charge of this shit. So it's just rich that they send this guy out as a spokesperson when he's literally like one of the most unlikable people I've ever seen on camera ever. Zero charisma, zero communication skills. He's just like a derpy little Nazi twerp is what he is. And it is quite embarrassing and quite disgusting. And unfortunately, we're going to be dealing with his nonsense for quite a while longer. But you know what? Democratic president picks Attorney General Jack Smith, and he has a field day with this guy because this guy is one of the leading criminals in the Trump regime. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm.
It's funny how DGG defenders sound just like Stephen Miller with their illiberal Hasan tears. I mean, you have to understand that the kind of corporate centrist Democrats are the same thing as Republicans. The fact that they were able to control the Democratic Party for so long was part of the like corporate uniparty controlled opposition strategy. Like the Democratic Party was a shock absorber. The purpose was, basically since Ronald Reagan, the Republicans did really unpopular capitalist liquidation policy. And then the resentment of some sort of, economic crisis would happen. The resentment would happen. People would be so pissed off. And then people would vote Democrat. And the Democrats would just perform a ratchet effect where the Republicans would ratchet to the right and the Democrats stop movement back. So the Democrats would just operate that new status quo until they got unpopular for not achieving change. And then people would vote them out for the Republicans, who would then go on a liquidationist spree and ratchet the country further and further to the right. That was the purpose of the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party was there to shock absorb the blowback from every single time the Republicans got into power. And what's happened is the reaction, like the nature of the country has started to degrade so much that even upper middle class people are starting to feel it, right? And that's where the crisis is happening. Because when the upper middle class and their kids are starting to feel like the system is not serving them, if all of the wealth is concentrated at the very top, now you're starting to see the cracks. The system is starting to collapse. And you're seeing it on generational lines. Because the upper middle class boomers, the middle class boomers, they got a good deal. And they've been able to float on their housing wealth, right? So, but everybody under the age of 45, well, they didn't get access to that same kind of housing wealth. They haven't been able to survive. Even the highly educated are seeing the cracks of the system. They're losing their jobs in places like tech. And so because the system is no longer functional for the vast majority of people, even highly educated, talented, skilled people, that is the crisis. And the Democratic Party is the first front of a new type of politics. And so, of course, the Democratic Party is the most vicious fighters against change because they are designed to be that. That's their function. But they didn't see stuff like social media. They didn't see stuff like this stream or Hasan Piker or Bernie Sanders or Zohra Mamdani or AOC. That wasn't part of the plan. You know, and as I tweeted, Rep. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez hugs Hasan Piker at the Zohra Mamdani victory party. The amount of anxiety that has been lifted from my shoulders feels like February 2020 in Nevada, but you know this better than anyone else. The job is only beginning. Oh yeah, this is step one.
We will mobilize. We will make sure that his agenda, his working class first agenda works. All right, here we go. Yeah.
What's up? How are you?
Good. How are you? Excuse me. Oh my God.
This is insane.
The amount of anxiety that has been lifted off my shoulders.
Yeah, 100%.
I was so fucking worried. I was so worried.
I know the nerves are.
The audio, like to this day, I still mauled over that audio. Of all of the like that day, that audio is like the worst audio on the most important stream that he ever did. It was the worst fucking audio of all time. And the reason why is because it's fucking loud in there, because it's a fucking the party is blowing the roof off, and they don't have the right equipment to handle it. They have these tiny lavalier mics that can't handle it. So it's crunching. They needed something heavier duty. They needed like boom mics, or they needed something a little bit heavier so they could like adjust with it and play with it. And like, anyway, again, you know, it's this, and you at a certain point it gets so loud, you know, there's going to be problems. But these little lavalier mics were just blown the fuck out. They couldn't handle it.
It felt like February in Nevada, where you're like, oh my God, is this happening? And then you're like, oh no.
Yeah, is it gonna happen?
Yeah, so I'm so glad. I'm so glad it happened. But listen, you know this better than anybody else. The job is only beginning.
Oh yeah, this is step one.
And look, people keep asking me like, what do you think? Oh, will he be able to get his agenda across? And I'm saying like, look, there are people like myself. We are ready to mobilize to make sure that we apply pressure where pressure is necessary, in terms of showing up, in terms of being loud, in terms of making sure that people understand that there are uncompromising values here at play in terms of doing right by the working class. Like, I think it's very important that he succeeds.
That's right.
So that, I mean, I know it makes your job a lot easier as well as mine to be able to tell for you, your colleagues, to be like, no, it works, right? Because this is something I talked to Rashida about as well, where I was like, are politicians just like cynical, or are they stupid? Do they not see that these are like very popular policies?
Yeah, I mean, but we have to prove that we can overcome all of the special interests and all of the money that will pile in. I mean, it's one thing to say that these issues are popular with voters, but it's another thing to say that they are popular enough and strong enough that they can withstand billions of dollars in ads and in what you know, put against you if you stand up for that.
Mike, can you look at me the way that AOC looks at Hasan? I am anti-shipper. I am an anti-ship extremist. I don't like it. I think it's bad vibes. And I think it's misogynistic. Got to get a good, like, she's locked the fuck in. My liberal anxiety is hitting. Did you see the CNN poll where 1/3 of Dems voters identify as Dem socialists? Oh, we're just getting started. We're just getting started. And here's the thing. I have been saying this forever. And I've been saying this forever because I could see it. And everything is lining up as we have foreseen in this community. I just want to say that the best analysis of the entire world about American politics is happening right here. Literally. The conversations that I have with you guys is better than anywhere else. I mean, it's literally true. And I'm not saying that to pat myself on the back, because what I come up with is a synthesis of our conversations and what we research and read together. We learn in real time. It's you. We are right. And I point this out because I want you guys to get confident to come out and help us get more power. What is a shipper? It's somebody who fantasizes relationships between people they see on their screens. It's called shipping because it's like fantasizing about a relationship that's off screen. So, like, for example, you could say that John Fetterman, has a relationship where he sucks off Benjamin Netanyahu. That would be shipping Fetterman and Netanyahu.
Okay. Well, Mr. Prime Minister,
What a fucking slob. What an absolute fucking slob. Like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, maybe I'm a little bit more conservative as far as like attire than most leftists are in general. But I just, what a fucking slob. Not only is he sitting there with shorts, he's sitting there cross-legged, so I guess we see his Under Armour boxer briefs. You're a fucking slob!
It was a supreme honor of my time here in the Senate to proud and stand.
A short time. Gonna be over soon.
For
oh, the audio is too bad. I can't. But speaking of Fetterman, oh God, he was whining and complaining about Bernie Sanders. I just have to show you this, guys.
like, what's he out on it? Well, what's in it for him? You know, if it's not anything more at this point, ego. You know, maybe sit a few out, Bernie. You know, it's you're not helping.
Well, the last poll that I saw in Pennsylvania, not a whole lot of Democrats think that he has represented them. And as you know, he flips Republican. Would not put too much credit on somebody.
He said you should sit this out.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
So you think I should take his advice? I probably won't. So John, not going to take your advice. We're going to work as hard as we can, not only to elect El Sayed, but Peggy Flanagan in Minnesota, and strong congressional candidates.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna win like everything. The only question is you know, my general feeling is like, how many representatives can we get over the finish line? Like, I wanna help people that have a shot. You know, the person that I'm thinking about next, it's probably going to be like, you know, we're gonna do some more Oliver Larkin stuff. Maybe we can go back. Maybe if Hasan is going down to Florida, I might go to that. Peggy's gonna win. After Florida, probably like Heath Howard is somebody I'm thinking about. And Hartzell is also in Florida, or Hartzell and Bush are the other two. Hartzell's gonna win his primary. I have no doubt about that. I'm feeling good about Cori Bush. Do you think Summer Lee would ever run for Fetterman's seat? I'm pretty sure everybody's trying to get her to do it. She's been talking a lot to Abdul. I would not be surprised. Would you say people in like R+13 districts have a shot? Yes, I would, actually. Although, that's tough. Once you get above like 15, then it's like, then I don't know about that. That's going to be tough, but doable, but it's tough. This year is going to be a mega landslide. I need everybody to understand that. This year is going to be a mega landslide. A whole bunch of people that you've never heard of are going to win. A whole bunch of people that I think they aren't going to win are going to win. Like, I'm underestimating how much of a landslide it's going to be.
Candidates all over this country who have the guts to start taking on big money
You
and
talked
represent
about
workers.
voters reject.
Fetterman is such a disgusting slob. He may be the worst politician I've ever seen in my life. Legitimately the dumbest piece of shit I've ever seen in my life. I think this poll is underestimating it. Like, I think Democrats are going to have the biggest landslide of the 21st century, including 2006 and 2008. I think the Republicans are in trouble in Montana. I think they're in trouble in Iowa. I think they're in trouble in Texas. I think they're in trouble in Nebraska. I'm not saying there's going to be a sweep or anything, but I think that's on election night, we're going to be looking at those races. Not Michigan, not Wisconsin. You know, those are going to get called really quick. We're going to be looking past. I think Ohio might be in the bag. You know, I think Maine is in the bag. Obviously, we have to fight hard for all those races. You know, but I think we're like, Maine is probably the one I think I'm the most concerned about. And it's just getting better and better. Like, Trump's approval rate, white non-college voters, -8, all-time low. October 2028, it was +9. He's fucking cooked. This is the energy of everyday people right now.
And I want to say something with my full chest. Never obey in advance. Fuck ICE. Fuck Donald Trump. Free Palestine. And save trans kids. And I want to say
that is the energy. That is the fucking energy. All right, one thing I really want to Israel's net approval rating in the US has dropped by an astounding -67 points. 73% of Democrats are okay with a Democratic socialist being nominated. And by the way, the people that are saying they're not, they're just being intransigent. The moment that actually happens, they'll go, well, you know, I don't know about Democrat socialists, but I really like Fran. Fran seems cool and reasonable. And then we have this. Oh my God. Abdul El Sayed, 54%. Haley Stevens, 39%. Mike was fucking right. Their last poll had him at 24% and Haley Stevens at 13 with Mallory McMorrow at 24. Nearly every single Jesus, Lord of mercy. And again, and I'll say this again, the pollsters are using models that are assuming electorates that are similar to 2024 and 2022, which were bad years for the left. He's going to win a mega landslide. I think he's going to break 60. We'll see. We'll see. I think he's going to break 60. All right. I mean, yeah, somewhere around 60. That's how I'm feeling about Abdul right now. I feel like the last polls are coming out. These are the pollsters. You know, the undecideds are pretty much gone. They've broke overwhelmingly for Abdul El Sayed. The McMorrow voters have broken almost unanimously towards El Sayed. It's just, you know, it's Jover. It's fucking Jover. People still have to show up. Run through the tape. Show up for those door knocks. Make those phone calls. Don't make Mike wrong. Work your fucking balls off. There's a clear age divide in the Democratic primary. Voters under 50 break for El Sayed by 42 percentage points. 67 to 25. And that's the division. I need you to understand that this is a generational war we are fighting with the boomers. Millennials, we are at war with the boomers. And we've got to make them lose. That gap tightens among voters in their 50s to a 12-point lead, and voters over 60 flip to Stevens by a 14-point margin. They watch TV. They watch the TV. I like the TV man. The TV man tells me I watch the TV commercials when I'm watching Matlock. I love the Stevens girl on the Matlock. Let's be honest. But even then, he's getting 40%, 39% of boomers. That's a fucking wrap. He's winning by 42 points among the young people, and he's only losing by 14 among the olds. That's a fucking wrap. Governor Gretchen Whitmer holds 62% approval rating among Democratic primary voters, a 17-point drop since April when it was 79%. Among Democratic primary voters who approve of Governor Whitmer, 49% support Stevens and 42% El Sayed. Among those who disapprove, 78% support El Sayed and 17% support Stevens. Among primary voters who approve of Governor Whitmer, 49 to 42. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is what you need to understand about the endorsement. It worked. The endorsement helped Stevens. Not enough. And what it did do is damage Whitmer's popularity with her own base. It backfired. Ooh la la. I mean, the 70 pluses. I mean, this is like embarrassing. The sample of likely Democratic primary voters has a credibility interval similar to a poll's margin of error of 3.7%. We contacted registered voters from a voter file provided by Aristotle using MMS text-to-web and a probability-based panel of voters provided by Consensus Strategies using MMS text-to-web. Additional panel interviews were provided by Pure Spectrum. The survey was hosted on Question Pro. All respondents were recruited using customized link that prevent responses from anyone outside the poll's sample frame. Panel responses were matched to the Aristotle voter file using respondents' full name and zip code. The survey was offered in English. How likely are you to vote in the August 4th 2026 primary elections? I want you guys to understand something. If you don't say, I already voted or very likely, they filter you out. If you get a poll and you say, oh, I'm probably going to vote, they don't take your answer. This is what we call, and funnily enough, this is called a soft likely voter screen. A hard likely voter screen is where they don't even call you unless you have like 4 out of 4 or 3 out of 4 voting record already in the bank. That's called a hard voter screen, where they like don't even poll people who don't have a track record of voting. That kind of screen, I talked about it pretty extensively in a conversation I had with Sam Cedar back in 2000 and what was that, 19? I don't remember. 17? Who knows? So this is actually considered to be looser, meaning more responses. So in other words, if people like, and I could tell you, a lot of those I'm probably going to votes are going to show up this time, and they're all voting for El Sayed. I think it might actually be interesting to look at those people. I wish I had the raw data instead of just this. The irony is that after beating Abdul at 18 to try to rat fuck him now, Whitmer will be forgotten as an unremarkable governor, and Abdul will be known as an incredibly successful senator, possible Senate leader, or presidential candidate. Absolute left victory. I'm so glad he lost the governor's race. Fuck the governor's race. I mean, obviously, I want Fran to win. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying governor's races are pointless, but I'm glad that he's getting the Senate seat instead of just a governor's mansion. Can you imagine being governor during Trump? It would fucking suck. If the Democratic primary election were held today, for whom would you vote? Although you are undecided, which candidate do you lead toward? Abdul is winning the undecideds. So that's why I think the 60% is where he's going to break. I think Abdul might break 60. I think Abdul might break 60%. Initial vote plus early vote plus lean. Abdul El Sayed, 57. Oh, he's going to break 60. Oh, my God. Damn. Crazy. Oh, yeah. He's been chilling. He tried to commit terrorism, and then he fell down. I think he's been embarrassed. He's just been chilling. He's just been laying, taking a nap. He fell down. I think he got embarrassed, and now he's just chilling. She's like, get a job. That's what she's saying to you. I know. That's what she does to me, too. There was a clip where she walked right here and put her tail right into my camera. I can't wait to see the dollar spent per vote by Steven's campaign. It's going to be astronomical. Yeah. Theo was telling me how he's getting terrorized as well. Wisconsin DSA needs to get ahead of the establishment that won't make the same mistake of being disorganized by making a short list of Senate candidates and narrow it down. 100. If he beats Rogers by double digits, he's gonna crush Rogers. It's gonna be horrible. It's gonna be like, do you guys understand? Like, all of you you're thinking about things in a way like it's 2022 or something, right? You're not living in the world of 2026. You're not really understanding it. You almost don't believe it because these numbers aren't real to you. And like, that is the reality of just how good things are going to get. And I'm not saying this to be a Pollyanna. It's what the numbers are showing. I am not one of those types of people. I am not one of those people that are saying these things because I want them to be true. They are true. As far as I could tell, that is what's happening. The Trump flags are dropping. The energy on the right is deflating. The conditions of the country suck. The war in Iran is unpopular. Donald Trump doesn't have it anymore. He's scared to go around and do rallies. It's fucking over. My thoughts on Corey versus Wesley Bell. I think Corey's got this in the bag. I mean, maybe I'm insane, but like, he's a super Zionist. Near attended at 9 a.m. after the Emerson polling results.
I don't know where a fella could get a little drink around here, do you, bud?
Pod safe, bro. Dems should support whoever wins the primary. Shannon Watts, so you're saying you hate women. 60% of the Democratic primary voters are about to declare themselves to be haters of women, according to Shannon Watts. Denouncing a Twitch streamer is stopping an A-rated NRA lawmaker from winning the seat. They're Zionists, guys. They're supremacist Zionists. It's not complicated. Why don't I like Haley Stevens?
Why I don't like Haley Stevens? Easy. She's like too much of a corporate and Israel shill. Like one of her most famous quotes is that Israel comes to her in her dreams. Fuck that. I'm so sick of America bending the knee and getting on its knees for Israel. And Haley Stevens doesn't really seem to be against that. Abdul El Sayed doesn't take any corporate funding. He just has endorsements from the UAW and Bernie Sanders. Haley Stevens is basically being groomed to be in the Senate to make more favorable changes for Israel, and I'm not okay with that. I don't like...
He's right, and this is what they hate. They hate to see a knowledgeable king. Every word he said is correct. Every single word he said is correct, and there's no spin. I want you to understand that these are facts. These aren't opinion. These are facts. This is knowledge. This is truth. This is reality. He correctly perceives the reality, and thus he is opposed to the Democratic Party. Establishment pick.
I already don't like indirectly supporting a genocide just by collecting a paycheck or by buying literally anything in the country, because I know it's all going to eventually go upwards. And then outwards to Israel, And if I can like say that my own state's responsible for that, I'd feel deeply ashamed. So I'm just gonna vote for the guy that's not doing that.
Where do you live, Brandon?
Not far from here. I live on a 6 Mile.
All right, what's your last name?
Young.
Brandon Young. Thank you so much.
Why?
Every single word every single word this man said is a verifiable fact. We love to see a high information voter. Abdul breaks 60% of establishment and can't type today. APAC are fucking good. High information voter king. Holy shit. The wonderful thing about Abdul being a generational candidate and winning with 60% is they will pull a few progressive congressional candidates we haven't received attention over the line in their races too. Yeah, there's another, obviously we had Donovan on, but there's another candidate in Michigan, I believe, who I think is going to win as well. I'm so like, obviously, like whenever I get this happy, my brain short circuits and it starts like generating negative thoughts to like balance me out. And one of the negative thoughts is, why did LA fuck up so fucking much and not try for anything? It pisses me off so fucking every time I start getting happy, I think about that and I just get so angry. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, they didn't do anything. They didn't try at all. It's such a profound mental rot and lack of belief. It's so crazy. They didn't even try, man. They were too early in the calendar to take advantage of DSA momentum. Chat, if you enjoy the content, please give subs right now before I have a meltdown. If you appreciate the stream, please give subs right now before I have a meltdown. Because that comment just critically hit my brain and I'm trying to lock in. So if you would like me to lock in, please give subs. DSA, great! Thanks for the 25 gifted subs. Now, chatter, your comment, I understand what you're trying to say. Trying to say that they were before, it was too early in the calendar or some other cope. Don't do that near me. Don't at me with delusional cope. The only thing I want to hear is, damn, that was a mistake. We missed a lot of opportunities. Let's not do that again. The worst thing about the left is this like constant try to rationalize their weakness and their pathetic fucking loserdom of never trying. And that is the worst part of being in the DSA in general, is the people who earnestly and honestly believe that we don't have the capacity to win a congressional race in Los Angeles, California. That is the worst take of all time. It's embarrassing and it's wrong. Not only that, I think I might actually just choose somebody who's a progressive, who's not even DSA, just to help them win and thereby prove you wrong through action. Like there are a few progressives running that made through the juggle primary in LA that I might just adopt and help them win. Nithya is probably going to win. I'm pondering whether I want to support her for DSA endorsement or not. I haven't made up my mind. I don't, I'm going to talk to Hasan and I'm going to try to have a united, whatever he decides or whatever we decide to do is I'm going to lean in that direction because I think she's going to win anyway. I just don't feel like I have any influence over her. And I feel like she has a case of bad instincts. What are the issues you see with LADSA? The problem I see with LADSA is they have a profound imposter syndrome, and they're way too interested in doing bunts. I'll give you a sports analogy for all your baseball and softball players. Imagine you had a world-class leadoff hitter, and at the start of every game, you ordered him to bunt. That's LADSA. They just absolutely refuse to take a cut at the ball. They never swing away. They never go for anything big. They're constantly trying to bunt the ball. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing? We're down by 10. Just swing. Yeah, it's like England versus Argentina. You score and then you fucking try to turtle for, 80 minutes. It's like, can you swing the bat? No, we don't have the capacity. We don't have the capacity. We don't have enough volunteers knocking doors for the LADSA dog catcher candidate. It's like, wow, I can't believe I can't believe people are not fired up to knock doors for the dog catcher. Oh, wow, I can't believe people are not fired up for accountant. Have you considered they might be fired up for a charismatic candidate for Congress? And there are so many charismatic people in Los Angeles that are left wing. It's fucking insane. They don't have one running for anything. And I'll be honest, like, Like, Nithya is proving my point. Nithya is winning on her own, and guys, I don't think she's that good of a candidate. I think she's kind of tripped over her own feet a number of times, and yet she's winning anyway because people are so desperate for a left-wing candidate. A potential candidate like AOC, Zoran, and Abdul is hard to find. Like, legitimately, I might actually end stream. I might actually end stream. I don't know where you guys come up with the like most annoying and also bad possible takes. How many thousands of hours of me can you watch and you still have the same exact horribly bad takes? I don't understand it. Like, I just said Nithya is gonna win, and she's not even like the most super charismatic person of all time because there's such hunger for the left. And they're like, well, we don't have a Zoran or an AOC, and it's like, first of all, we fucking do. They just don't believe that they could do it. They need people to give them permission to run. That's the problem that LADSA has. They don't have anybody with the delusional self-confidence to walk around saying, I think you could do it. Everybody's like, I don't know. What happens if we lose? Well, we don't have the capacity for that. Luckily, you still have Angela Gonzalez Torres. Yes. I'm going to probably pick her. Claire and Daria Lisa ran because people asked to and supported them. Exactly. You think Claire and Daria Lisa were like when they ran, it was irrational. It was irrational for Daria Lisa to run. That race was an insane race. That is a crazy race. I don't want to speak. I don't want to describe it in a neutral way because it'll sound like I'm being mean to Daria Lisa. But she kicked his ass. And like the reality is that the main problem with DSA in general, Mandela Barnes considering dropping out of the governor's, it doesn't matter. Honestly, like most of his supporters are going to go to Fran anyway. The conversations come as Democratic officials of the state brace for damaging media reports about Barnes, which are expected to hit in the coming hours. Primary came increasingly messy as more moderate leading Democrats like Barnes have tried to stave off Democratic Socialist Francesca Hong's rise, worried her victory could boost presumed Republican nominee Tom Tiffany, which is, of course, just propaganda for their ideology. They can't actually make an argument. Governor Tony Evers' endorsement of David Crowley further complicated the moderate coalition. I can't believe they waited till like the week before. Again, it's not going to work. It doesn't matter. Fran has got this locked. You're not going to shift the race that much. Unless you have something about Fran that you're about to come out drop, that's not going to shift the race. It's so late. People have already voted. He dropped.
Now, we're incredibly proud of all the research it's become very clear who our nominee. Now, I said from the very beginning, I launched it, that the #1 goal is Tom to big win up.
Honestly, I think this is smart because do you want to lose by 50 points to Fran? Now, when he loses by 50 points, he can say it's because he dropped out. Like, that's what it is.
And now, it's our time to focus our every life for their health care. Who can't afford childcare? Now, I got in this race, getting richer, scrambling. I know this firsthand. That's why I've always been organized. Now, while I'll never give incredibly all the bold quality, everything possible. And that's exactly.
Well, there you have it, chat.
Last night, I had a very
controversial live streams. They're with a guy called Mike from Pennsylvania.
Chat. But you're also on the show of a streamer called Mike from PA.
Francesca Hong is now leading the polls in the state's Democratic primary for governor.
Claire Valdez, she came on my stream. Say hi to the Central Committee stream.
Hi, Central Committee stream. Wow,
okay.
Excited to be here.
And so she got the Mike from PA bump.
Claire Valdez has been declared the winner there by the Associated Press.
And we call it the Mike from PA difference.
difficult conversation.
Hey, editors, didn't she announce her race on my stream? Like, didn't she announce her race on my stream? Like, listen, I don't want to take credit for this whole thing. I'm not going to say that it's all me and that it was all me from the beginning and Mike was right. But what has happened is I've just been a place to like throw in a little bit of support, raise a little bit of money, right? And give attention to people that deserve it. And it all started with us supporting Ryan Clancy, who's in the chat right now, state representative, sewer socialist extraordinaire. And Ryan has helped build that up. And now Fran is taking that torch and carrying it. Also, Ryan, make sure I'm a VIP. Give me a speaking slot at the victory party. Oh, no. Unless. Do you think we could organize Central Committee phone banking for candidates? Sure, we could. Am I coming? Yes. I have to like actually prepare. I have to, actually get a hotel. Like, I assume we're doing it in Madison, right? Madison, Wisconsin is the victory party. Hell yeah. I assume it's Madison, right? As opposed to Milwaukee. Or it's like the campaign headquarters. I have this information somewhere. It's in my email somewhere. Yes, and Milwaukee. No, but where's Fran gonna be? Or is she gonna go be in both? Is she driving? We need to focus on Wisconsin and Michigan congressional candidates now. This is where she announced. She went on my stream in September 18th. She went on my stream September 18th. So this was September 17th. She went on my stream September 18th. She told WPR, Mike, when are you coming out of Wisconsin? To the primary. She raised 120K the first 24 hours, and we were 1/4 of that. I mean, the other thing is, like, a lot of you guys, I'm sure, donated more than once through her emails or texts or whatever. But basically, I helped build her list. So I've raised her probably at least 50K, if not more. So I hate to say it, but I'm probably, Hasan is probably her #1 bundler, and I'm #2. So I want to be Wisconsin's ambassador to New York City, or Wisconsin's ambassador to Los Angeles. Unironically, if it was a presidential campaign, I would be an ambassador. I would be an ambassador appointment. Point me ambassador to China. No, I'm kidding. You made her get on Hasan's radar so you get more credit. I mean, that is also true. But again, it's not about me. It's that I just recognized what DSA in Wisconsin was already doing, and I helped them. They're the ones who did it. I just pointed people in their direction and gave them some help. It's they who did it. And what I'm trying to say is, you could do it too. If you follow the path of New York City DSA or Wisconsin DSA, you could do it too. Wherever you are in this country, we could just throw in some extra help. Like, that is the reality. It's not that it's about me.
Mike from...
God, this hype video makes me laugh so much because I know it makes all the right people mad.
Pennsylvania.
But you also on the show of a streamer called Mike from PA.
Francesca Hong is now leading the polls in the state's Democratic primary for governor.
Claire Valdez, she came on my stream. Say hi to the Central Committee stream.
Hi, Central Committee stream. Wow.
Okay. And the other thing about Claire is that the Claire Dingleberry is perma burned into my brain. We need to make a meme. We need to memeify the Dingleberry. At this point, Bunny, how could you? The what? You guys don't remember when her cat Bunny walked across the screen and had Dingleberry hanging off her ass? You guys forgot about that?
Glad to be here.
And so she got the Mike from PA bump.
Claire Valdez has been declared the winner there by the Associated Press.
And we call it the Mike from PA difference. That's the kind of authenticity you get here on the Central Committee stream. All right, hold on. Let me throw something up real quick. I'll be right back. BYD keeps winning.
BYD makes 75% of its vehicle components in-house. That single fact explains why their cars cost what they cost. Their own batteries, their own semiconductors, their own motors, their own power electronics. At their Hefei plant, 1,200 welding robots run a 97% automated line. A machine installs all 4 wheels, screws automatically fed and laser lined in 48 seconds. BYD's Xiaomi plant near Shenzhen produces a body in white every 58 seconds. In the Western automotive supply chain, those margins get distributed across Bosch, Continental, ZF, Magna, Aptiv, Infineon, Mobileye, and hundreds of Tier 2 suppliers, each with shareholders, headquarters, R&D budgets, and legal departments. BYD just owns that entire layer. When UBS engineers tore apart a BYD seal in 2023, they attributed its cost effectiveness to vertical integration in the cell-to-pack blade battery design, where cells go directly into the structural floor plan, eliminating modules that legacy battery packs use. Top Gear called the interior genuinely premium, with build quality that feels a match for anything from Japan or Korea. Even crazier, they couldn't get enough shipping slots for their export volume, so they built their own ships. The BYD Shenzhen 16 decks, 9,200 vehicles, the largest car carrier ever built by capacity. That's what vertical integration looks like when there's nothing left to outsource. If looking at BYD makes you ask why your Toyota or Ford was so expensive, ask them why they outsource half their production. BYD makes 75% of its vehicle components in-house. That single fact explains why their cars cost what they cost. their own batteries, their own semiconductors, their own motors, their own power electronics. At their Hefei plant, 1,200 welding robots run a 97% automated line. A machine installs all 4 wheels, screws automatically fed and laser lined in 48 seconds. BYD's Xiaomi plant near Shenzhen produces a body in white every 58 seconds. In the Western automotive supply chain, those margins get distributed across Bosch, Continental, ZF, Magna, Aptiv, Infineon, Mobileye, and hundreds of Tier 2 suppliers, each with shareholders, headquarters, R&D budgets, and legal departments. BYD just owns that entire layer. When UBS engineers tore apart a BYD seal in 2023, they attributed its cost effectiveness to vertical integration in the cell-to-pack blade battery design, where cells go directly into the structural floor plan, eliminating modules that legacy battery packs use. Top Gear called the interior genuinely premium, with build quality that feels a match for anything from Japan or Korea. Even crazier, they couldn't get enough shipping slots for their export volume, so they built their own ships. The BYD Shenzhen 16 decks, 9,200 vehicles, the largest car carrier ever built by capacity. That's what vertical integration looks like when there's nothing left to outsource. If looking at BYD makes you ask why your Toyota or Ford was so expensive, ask them why they outsource half their production. BYD makes
I mean, that's just incredible. I mean, it's just incredible. We're kind of living in this probably the most important period in human history where the real left has learned the lessons of being ideologically rigid, and we are taking a more pragmatic and holistic view of the world, right? And we are developing kind of understanding in the consequences of the policies and countering the power of the capitalist class, kind of like recognizing just how fragile everything really is. It's really a great time to be alive.
A little bit of joy, a little bit of energy, and a little bit of stick it to them.
All right, by the way, before we go on, thank you so much. Hey, Lisa. Okay, my stuff is broken. It didn't show me the subs. Mike is right, like always. Thank you so much. 9 Mil Bill, thank you for the 10. Marble Honey, thank you for the 20. Gary Livingston, thank you for the 5. Hammett Fist, thank you for the 20. You are always a king, man. ESA Groyd, thank you for the 25 gifted subs. Thank you everybody for celebrating bits with Hasan having a small head. That was a lot of bits of Hasan. Amy Goodwin's peace sign, thank you for the 25. What a day. What a fucking day. Do you think President AOC would partner with China? I think AOC would have the common sense left-wing perspective of China is obviously another world power, and we want to ensure that they respect international law and they don't engage in wars of aggression. And we should cooperate on the crises facing the planet, whether that is the climate crisis, whether that is the fossil fuels, and come together and find diplomatic solutions to the world's common problems. And I think, like, I don't think there would be any problem there. What worries me is the Taiwan situation, you know, we need to have a Hong Kong style resolution, you know, like where Taiwan has autonomy, where their system is respected, but they're not you know what I mean? But we just resolve it once and for all. I feel the same way about Puerto Rico, right? Like, I want Puerto Rico, like, I personally believe Puerto Rico should be a state, but I respect the rights of the people of Puerto Rico who choose to be independent. That's what they want to be. But I think there should be a final resolution on that question immediately. Statehood or independence, no other status. No longer a colony of the United States or full and equal political rights. That's the answer that I think we need to resolve that immediately. New polling shows Americans would shop at a government-run grocery store. Of course they would. I'm from Pennsylvania. All of our liquor stores are government-run, and nobody cares. Literally, nobody cares. This is all government-run. This is a government-run. This is all government-owned enterprise. This is what it looks like. Uncork exclusive deals. What's your preferred? Wine, spirits, or both? What's the price of Hendrix? Here it is, $44. Oh, it looks like half a bottle is on clearance, $17.24. You know what I like? Oh yeah, Buffalo Trace. Now that's some good bourbon. I don't know if they sell soju. They might not sell it because it's not a spirit. Oh, they do. There you go. And it's like the prices are competitive with anywhere else, but every employee is union. You know, they have pensions. They have good wages. You know, like what? How much for mezcal? Oh no, everybody wants to know, but nobody gives a fuck. It's normal. They sell buzz balls. The government sells buzz balls in Pennsylvania. Is there a risk of people buying food cheaply from government stores and then reselling it? Like if a local chain did that, would be economically feasible? I mean, I assume there will always be some of that, but there'll probably be some amount of allocation regulation, meaning you can only buy so much. This is something that happens a lot, is allocation, where, you know, and there's going to be some attempt at arbitrage and things like that. It happens. I assume that if the food is like legitimately cheaper than competitors, all of it's going to get bought up because people are going to do that, exactly what you're talking about. So there will have to be some sort of allocation. There's purchase limits and all sorts of other things. Yeah. Hasan needs my help. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call it there. I hope you guys are feeling good about the world because everything is getting better. We're fucking winning. But don't forget, we've got the Reaction Podcast. If you need more Mike from PA content, check out the Reaction Podcast with me, Yagopnik, and Freda. Every Saturday is a new release. We haven't missed one since we started. I think we're on episode 22. This week on Saturday, we are going to have the famous German YouTuber 3 Arrows, where we're discussing the rise of the far-right AfD party in Germany. So make sure you check that out. My Libant is skeptical of my support for the latest DSA candidates, thinks that my recent phone banking is somehow a nefarious effort. Should I take time trying to educate her? Is that a lost cause at this point? She works for Verizon Corporate, is hanging on by a thread of humanity through. Barack Obama did a lot of phone banking too. How many phone calls did Barack Obama's campaign make in 2008? I misspelled campaign. Whoops. And Barack. 3 million phone calls were made through the website's internet virtual phone. They did not publish a total cumulative number for all phone calls made through the entire multi-year election cycle, but specific milestones were recorded. Wow. So this is just like literally every single political campaign. Your aunt doesn't seem to know a lot about politics. AP reporting Mandela Barnes has dropped out. Yeah. Francesca Hong has won. It's Jover. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out today. I'm going to send y'all over to, I don't know. I don't know. We'll send you over to who do I want to raid? I'm gonna go over to the mothership anyway, so I might as well just send you there. All right, everybody, stay safe. Solidarity forever. Socialism will win, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Peace. Free Palestine.